Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. The first annual Gilroy Garlic Bowl competition between three Northern California schools. Fresno State Bulldogs, UC Berkeley Bears, and San Jose Spartans. And I have the immense pleasure of introducing your MC for this event, the radio voice of the San Jose Sharks, Mr. Dan Rusanowski. Big hand for Dan.
Thank you, John. Any Sharks fans out there? Welcome to Christmas Hill Park for the 35th annual Gilroy Garlic Festival, but the very first moment of history, the Gilroy Garlic Bowl. You got to absolutely love this, folks. Three outstanding teams representing three great universities and the opportunity to win a $5,000 scholarship. You know, this organization is all about philanthropy. 160 different nonprofit organizations have accepted up to $10 million worth of funds that are produced from your attending this great event. So remember that as you watch everybody compete. Remember that as you go around and taste the garlic and all of the great varieties of food and great things you have here. It's all for an outstanding cause. 35 years ago, Rudy Malone, Val Felice, and Don Christopher had this crazy idea to put together the Gilroy Garlic Festival, and what a tradition it's turned into here at Christmas Hill Park. What do you think of the Garlic Festival so far? Yeah? Hey, by the way, I meant to ask, are there any San Jose Sharks fans out there? Yeah, we got to love that. Well, we have to remember that this is not a Sharks game. This is a cooking competition, and the very first group is going to be going out at about 10 after. We're going to stagger these, and we're going to have a unique draw to decide which school's team goes first. But first of all, I want to introduce my partner in arms here for this Garlic Bowl Competition 2013. He is the winner of last year's Iron Chef competition here at the Gilroy Garlic Festival, and he's also part of Smoky Bones Bar and Grill, a great organization of restaurants really specializing in what we all love. Let's say hello to Jason Gronlund. Jason, what do you think?
Well, I think it's going to be an interesting competition, the way it's set up. You know, three great universities, three great culinary teams going head-to-head here. Excitement on the ice. We're going to have excitement here under the netting here at Christmas Park, looking at some different cooking techniques. And, again, what is the key star of all the cooking? Garlic. And so it's going to be interesting to see how people use garlic. What did they think? What was their inspiration? So we'll be sharing that with you guys as we go through, but also hopefully fielding some questions as well to get some questions back to the teams to get your wants and knows about how to cook in the kitchen and what they're doing up here.
Most important part, of course, is the fact that you have to have garlic in here. And in fact, it's 6 cloves of garlic in the dish, right?
Yes, a minimum of 6 cloves. It can be more, but you have to have a minimum of 6 cloves in each one of the dishes up here, which may sound like a lot, but when treated correctly, garlic can be your best friend, but also can keep the vampires away as well. So,
hey, I believe in 30 cloves of garlic. What do you guys think? You got to throw about that much in each dish. Right now, I think it's time for us to meet teams, and we're going to call them over to our area right over here because we have a special way to draw for who goes first at 10 after. Let's start by meeting the people who had to travel the farthest to get here, the Fresno State Bulldogs. Let's hear it for them. Let us call up the executive chef, Eric DeBaud, and the sous chef, Brian Kramer. Eric, you grew up in Paris, and obviously that's a long way from Fresno. You're not involved at Fresno State in the organization, but also at the Save Mart Center as the executive chef. What's your greatest inspiration in cooking?
Well, since I was born in France, I learned a lot of different type of cooking, but it's just cooking overall. My parents grew up in restaurant business, and I just love cooking in general.
What do you think about the attitude of using a lot of garlic in your dishes for creativity?
The garlics, add the extra flavor, but we're gonna utilize Fresno State ingredients, like sweet corn, olive oil, and the wines that they make over there, and hopefully, make a tasteful dish out of it.
Let's hear it for Eric DeBaud, the executive chef. And now let's meet the sous chef, Brian Kramer. You started out at a small pizzeria in Fresno, California. Sounds like a radio story, I think. How did you get a passion for cooking?
I think it was just actually getting in there and doing it. Sometimes you're a little intimidated by cooking because you've never done it before. So I just kind of took the attitude, I just get in there and do it and then learn as much as I can. And it just kind of grew on me, became a passion.
This is a team sport, and obviously you have to have good communication with your executive chef, and you have to know what each person is doing at every time. Is that an important part of your job to make sure that that's going well?
Yeah, it's kind of almost like a marriage almost. You have to like communicate and you got to be there. Sometimes you have to read his mind. Sometimes being married, you have to do that. So
What's he thinking right now?
that he needs some water.
Well, Eric certainly is getting used to the hot weather being in Fresno, but it is a little different than Paris, right?
Correct. Yeah, I like the colder weather better than this.
It's great to have these guys here. Let's hear it for Fresno State. Why don't we take a step aside, and we'll get the team from the Golden Bears of the University of California, Berkeley. The executive chef is Mary Ferrer. Hi, Mary.
Hello, how are you?
So what's the unique Berkeley way that you're going to be involved in the cooking today?
We're going to make it accessible to everybody.
Oh, accessible for everybody. We like that. And since you said something, this is Ida Shen. Let's say hello to Ida, the sous chef.
Hi. Oh, is that all I get? Oh my God.
My question is there going to be a situation in this cooking competition where the band comes out onto the field and you guys have to do a couple of laterals to each other in order to win? Are you willing to do that in order to get victory?
Well, we have a new football coach, so we've been practicing with him, but we can't divulge anything at this time.
We love it. Let's hear it for Ida and Mary. And now let us meet the Spartans from San Jose State. Executive Chef Michelle Rogers and sous chef Carlos Duque. First of all, Michelle, you've been involved in preparing for very large groups before, but what's a cooking competition like?
Well, a cooking competition, I mean, it's the most challenging because if you miss something and you're there, then you're, it's being organized, knowing what you want to do, and practicing a lot.
Now, if the broadcaster steps up to you during the course of the competition and asks you a question, is that one of those situations that's the equivalent of maybe, burning something or dropping a piece of utensil or spilling something? Are we going to be in the way that much?
I sure hope not.
Let's hear it for Michelle Rogers. Now, here's this guy. This guy's a big guy. Look at the size of him. Are you the enforcer on San Jose State's team?
You better believe it.
Carlos, where did you grow up and where did your passion for cooking come from?
I'm Salvadorian, and then I grew up in Redwood City in the Bay Area. So my inspiration was my grandmother, from teaching me the basics of frying an egg to making bean soup, which I still have in the kitchen right now. So that was my inspiration.
What's your favorite dish?
Foie gras.
Foie gras. That's really popular in California these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think we're all part of the effort to try to change that. Well, that's another story. But what about the challenge of cooking with garlic?
This isn't a challenge at all. I want to be poached in garlic when I die.
Listen to this. Let's hear it for the Spartans. Now, I'd like each executive chef to come back up here because we have to draw and figure out who goes first. And we're almost on the verge of the first team going. So let's have Michelle, Eric, and Mary please come back up here to center stage.
And of course, as Dan said, we can't just have the normal way of figuring out who's going to go first. So
exactly, I wanted to turn it over to you to explain exactly how this is going to work.
Well, here we have
show them.
a block of knives.
Yes, we do.
And you can only imagine we have a long knife, we have a shorter knife, and we have a very short knife. So we're going to let them draw knives, and whoever draws the longest knife is the one that goes first, and then we'll start 10 minutes each there, so we'll sort of stagger them a little bit. But we have a unique way, too, to challenge them once they get going. So we'll get into that once we get the teams going. So
Correctamundo. Now, once again, out of due respect, the person that came the farthest probably should choose first. So let's have Fresno State step forward. Eric, select one of the knives, please.
come on, somebody's got to do it. Who let the dogs out?
It's number one. Let's move forward, and let's go to flip a coin. You decide who goes next. You want Cal to go next or San Jose?
Sure, Cal.
Cal's next. Come on up, Cal.
Now, how funny is this going to be in sequence, just by the way they draw, huh?
I think so.
Oh, third.
Number 3. And so let us do it ceremonially. Please come forward, Michelle, and select for San Jose State. Number 2. All right. How close are we? Where's the official timekeeper? Mike, where are you?
Mike. Where's our time?
Wait, you're the official timekeeper? How much time do we have left?
Start
All
now.
right, let's do it in 10, 9,
8,
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Team 1
Go
goes
Dogs.
now. Team 1. Now, why don't we, while Team 1 is getting started, let's explain the rules because Team 2 and Team 3 probably want to get reviewed on that.
Yeah. So what's happening is that Team 2 and Team 3 sort of have to sit and wait a little bit until we give them the time to start. Because what we're trying to do is stagger it a little bit so when the food starts coming out, the judges can taste it. So when a plate comes up, the food doesn't get too hot or too cold or whatever's going on with it. But we also have, you know, since we don't know exactly how long it's going to take for each one of the teams to make their dish, we actually sort of have a culinary quiz inspired, since it's all college and universities. We're going to take these chefs back to school. And so if 2 teams show up to judges at the same exact time, we're going to ask them a culinary question, and whichever team gets it right gets to present to the judges first. If they start coming up and we have a backup of teams up here, there's a list that they'll get on the judges list to get in queue to start tasting the dishes, so they keep getting tasted as they come up to the judges.
A couple of other things to note. The dishes will, of course, be judged on appearance, creativity, flavor, texture, presentation, and, of course, most importantly, what do you think the most important part of this cooking competition is? Garlic. That's right, the use of garlic. What did you do last year to be the Iron Chef winner that was so creative?
Well, you know, we were sitting there, and actually CMAP TV did a great job. If anybody wants to see, just put in Chef Jason CMAP, and you'll see my interview from last year. But as you come up here, and especially for the Iron Chef, we don't know anything when we come up. 10 minutes before we started cooking, we got the proteins and the pantry, so to speak. And then about 30 seconds before we actually got to cook, we got the last ingredient, which last year was flatbread. And so last year, our 2 main proteins were tilapia and filet mignon. So I started to think, what can I do something different with the tilapia? So basically, I took the garlic and I shaved it really thin on what's called a mandolin, and I made a puree of tilapia, put it over the top of the filet. Using a pair of tweezers, I set the garlic from the tail to the head so it looked like the scales were back on the fish when we pan-seared it.
Awesome.
It looked like a beautifully scaled piece of fish, except it was caramelized garlic on the top of it with a sun-dried tomato creme. So a lot of fun.
By the way, what did you think of Mr. Duque back there? He's a pretty big guy, but you're pretty big yourself. What would happen in your kitchen?
Well, okay, first we'd be bumping into each other. So here I am. I grew up in the Northeast. I'm 6'3". We won't talk about weight now, and it sort of moved around a little bit since I was younger. Used to be in powerlifting when I was in high school. My senior year of high school, I actually quit playing football to be in cake decorating. So I'm sure had they had Facebook and stuff like that back then, I probably wouldn't have made the same decision. I probably would have stayed playing football, but thank God I didn't have the social pressures back then like they do now. But it was great for me because I've been cooking since I was 11. So
Everybody here is competing to be part of a scholarship. The winner of this competition today will win a $5,000 scholarship for their school. Everybody else is going to earn a $1,000 scholarship for second and third place. So that really is great for the General Scholarship Fund. Again, everything that you guys are doing here today to participate, to be part of this 35th annual Gilroy Garlic Festival, is a part of the philanthropic efforts for this community. And as I said earlier, 160 different nonprofit organizations, $10 million over the time of the festival. I think that's just really a great tribute. And, of course, the pride of garlic and the capital of the garlic world right here in Gilroy, just south of the third largest city in the state of California and the 10th largest in the United States, San Jose. So what a great tradition this is, and it's great to have you here. By the way, Jason, I think I'm going to go over and meet the...
Wait, real quick,
You
though.
got
How long
something big?
before Team 2 starts? Where's our timer? How long before Team 2 starts?
It's going to come soon.
In 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
Okay.
5 minutes to go.
5 minutes
we're
till Team 2
going
starts.
in 10-minute intervals for teams to start. And there's no real advantage to starting first necessarily. This is just a way to get it to the judges quicker. And by the way, we were talking about the tiebreaker and the culinary question, Jason. One thing, too, is that they have warmers to keep the food in check, so there's no disadvantage to being second in a tie.
No, that's correct. We do have warmers to keep the food hot, and also, too, if they have something that's going to be crispy fried or they've got a cold garnish they have to add, they can do that. In the cooking world, we call it a la minute, which means at the last minute. So we'll let them stage the dish to make sure that it's being seen at the peak of what the food wanted to be, because the last thing we want to do is a disadvantage to any of the teams when they bring their food up.
Right now, let's take a gander over to the judges' table and meet a couple of the judges that happen to be here today. First things first, let us say hello to somebody from the Culinary Institute of America at Greystone, also known as CIA, very intelligent organization. Tucker Bunch. Hi, Tucker.
Very nice to meet you.
Tell me a little bit about what you guys are trying to push at the Culinary Institute of America today with the general public. The idea that you're producing the great chefs of the future, but you're also trying to make people at home feel a little bit more comfortable with cooking.
We teach a range of classes from professional students who have the culinary arts as a career in mind to the general public. So we have enthusiast classes all the time. Our primary mission is to elevate the fundamental skill set that is cooking. And it's not so much about cuisine or personal expression, it's about finding the tools necessary to do what you want to do in the kitchen so that there are fewer surprises and more successes.
The United States is a melting pot as a country. I suppose it is as a culinary nation too, isn't it?
Absolutely. So we study cuisines from all over the world, for sure.
If you were to describe the American cuisine, if you could you do it? Is it possible to do that anymore?
It's probably a moot point. Who cares? It's all good.
You just like good food. Yeah, absolutely. By the way, what do you think about the level of culinary excellence in the United States these last 25, 30 years?
I think we're clearly in the upper echelon. I think the United States has every single skill set necessary to compete on a world stage, and I think we do. Having worked with gentlemen like and amazing chefs like Thomas Keller, no one overshadows any of the American chefs in any significant way. I think we're world class.
We got a great judge here from the Culinary Institute of America, Greystone. Let's hear it for Tucker.
Hey, and Dan, Tucker had a really great point here. Great schools like Culinary Institute of America give the great skill set for these kids to go out in the field and pursue a career in culinary, but they have to understand it's a creative process. It's not a linear process. So once they're given all these great tools, they have to go out and develop these skills on their own, figure out what is their creative inspiration, things to take at the table. And it's great that places like Greystone and stuff are giving them that inspiration, those tools to pursue a career in this industry.
Where did you pursue your culinary excellence?
Well, again, I started when I was 10, 11, my parents' catering business. I actually went to Johnson & Wales in Rhode Island back, I won't date myself, but it was a college back when I went, so which is a university now. And again, same there, pursuant of giving a great skill set to the folks that are heading out into this industry, because I think people need to realize that it is a creative process and not everybody's going to be the next Food Network star, but there's a lot of passion in this industry that can be shared with folks through the food and stuff, so.
All right, but what a great story.
Where are we at on
Jason.
time for Team 2? Where are we at on the time? Oh, there you are.
3 minutes.
3 minutes to start.
All right. Well, let us walk over here. What is your name, please, and what do you do?
I'm Ward Bushy. I'm the editor of the San Francisco Chronicle.
Well, how about that? We got a lot of Chronicle readers out there, don't we? Yeah. Love that. What is the editorial position of the San Francisco Chronicle and the Gilroy Garlic Festival and this competition?
It's getting better by the moment, much more favorable. But the one thing I will tell you is that the Chronicle is really the epicenter, we believe, in terms of newspaper and coverage of the West Coast cuisine, and this is certainly part of it. But we have, as arduously as we cover sports or politics, we cover food and wine. We have a separate building that covers, that we house our food and wine staff in. It has a professional kitchen. We bring cooks into it. We have a substantial wine cellar. We have a food critic. We have a restaurant critic. We have a wine critic. So this is increasingly an important part of people's lives, and people are very passionate about it. If you ever try and get to a restaurant anywhere in the Bay Area right now on a Friday night, you will see it. So I'm delighted to be here. I'm not a pro. I just oversee it, and I think this is a great event to be associated with.
That's an interesting thought, that as a non-professional, so to speak, next to a couple of
All
professionals.
right, we're going to start our
How will you do
countdown
it?
to Team 2 here shortly. We got 5 seconds. We'll start our countdown to Team 2. You ready, folks? Let's count Team 2 down. Ready? 10,
Hold on.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go, Team 2.
And it's Crazy George, the inventor of the wave, right there. He invented the wave at Spartan Stadium and at California Golden Seals games way, way back when. He is here to help you cheer for San Jose State.
And, folks, we do.
Gotta love it. Well, tell us how you're going to judge this competition, Ward.
I'm going to purely judge it by taste and watching the action on the kitchen floors over here. I'm not a pro. I'm surrounded by pros, so I'm just going to give it the best I got.
Absolutely fantastic. Thanks for being here. Let's hear it for Ward from the Chronicle.
Yeah, we do encourage the judges, if you guys want to engage with the chefs and stuff prior to the dishes coming up, feel free to get in there and throw them off their game a little bit.
Yeah, that'll get them all distracted. Let's say hello to Beat Giger, who is with the Pebble Beach Company. Let's hear it for him. So you're from Switzerland. Tell us about your favorite cuisine when you were growing up and how you got into the industry.
Well, back in Switzerland, we have a lot of infusion of cuisines from the Germans, Italian, French, Austrian, and so Switzerland is really a good melting pot for cuisine. And I started at a very young year of 16 with an apprenticeship, a formal apprenticeship to become a chef or start with a culinary career. Actually, you become a cook, not really a chef. That comes way later on.
Obviously, it's a long procedure, but it's a very rewarding one for anybody. What's the most fun for you, the creation of a menu or the actual execution of making that idea work?
A lot of it has to do with the pressure. I think everybody wants to eat at 12 noon, so everybody's meal have to come out fast and good and look good. But the creative aspect is there where you can create a plate, and when you see the clean plates come back, that's the best thing, because then you know everybody loved what you served them.
Now, you're in an interesting situation because you're with the Pebble Beach Company. That's a different profession than perhaps working for a university or working at an arena or working in a 10-seat restaurant. Tell us about the challenges about working at the Pebble Beach Company and what the demands are for you.
Well, we serve the individual diners, the small groups, but also the big groups where we have, for example, the U.S. Open, where we feed literally 600,000 people over a week, which is just crazy. And it was a really crazy week for us. So we have to be open to a variety of things. The Pebble Beach guests are very demanding, so the quality, the preparation, the presentation, everything has to be absolutely top-notch.
Let's hear it for Beat Giger of the Pebble Beach Company. Thank you.
Hey,
Have
Dan.
fun today.
Hey,
yes,
Dan.
Jason. Yes, sir.
Our chef from France, what do you think he's making down there on the stove right now? And I can only see from a distance, but can you see what he's making down there?
I cannot see. What's he making?
It looks like crepes.
Crepes. I was going to say coq au vin, but
Well, if he was making coq au vin that quick, I'll tell you he's definitely a great chef in my book. But let's take a walk over here and see what he's doing down here, since they were the first off, and they're going to have to be done prior to everybody else. Chef, what are you doing with the crepes?
We're gonna stuff the crepes with Saint-Andre and sweet corn, and we're gonna do a lavender cream sauce to go with it.
Well, very nice. Lavender cream sauce. That's going to be an interesting play against the flavor of the garlic.
boy, that is looking very interesting. And, of course, as we were saying earlier, the communication. The left hand has to know what the right hand is doing at all times. And check out the sous chef over here. What do you got going?
Searing some duck breast right now.
Wow, how long do you do that?
Depending on the type of stove you're using, maybe a minute on each side, just to I'm just going to crisp up the skin a little bit.
So I guess I got to better make sure I step out of the way. When that minute goes by, you got to get going.
Yeah.
All's well so far?
So far, so good.
Well, the other things too is duck has a lot of fat in it. So by rendering some of this duck fat down, you've heard of duck confit,
Right.
which is duck confetti, and it's slow cooked in a duck fat. So by rendering that fat down, he's going to get nice brown or crisper skin on the outside of it. So when he flips it over, you'll get a nice crispy skin, and the meat will be nice and moist from what's called actually barding, which is taking and letting the fat go around the outside of meat, versus larding, where you put the fat through the middle of the meat.
Well, obviously, Fresno State is off to a wonderful start. We'll ask him later a little bit about maybe what the garlic element is in this, but I'm sure that there is something that's going to be included here. At least 6 cloves of garlic have to be in each dish,
Well, I
correct?
think actually if we count over here, we have,
many you got?
we've exceeded the 6 garlic limit here, which is fine because they can use as much as they want. But we are doing sort of a version of roasting the garlic here by softening and caramelizing on the stove top in a low heat oil by not deep frying it. He's sort of doing like you would in the oven for roasted garlic, just on the stove top.
It looks like a deep frying setup, and of course, in that situation, you wouldn't mince the garlic. You would keep them whole cloves, right?
Yeah, and especially, too, if he's going to do something like we're spreading it, because cooking in this method, you can actually spread the garlic, and it's nice and soft like butter. But the other thing he can do, too, as well, is that flavor of the garlic is actually going into the oil as well. So you could cool that oil down using a vinaigrette for something, or cook something else in it afterwards, and that flavor would carry through from the garlic into whatever you're cooking by softening and cooking the garlic in the oil like that as well.
This is the Garlic Bowl 2013 here at the 35th Annual Gilroy Garlic Festival. I'm Dan Rusanowski. Hope you listen to San Jose Sharks hockey on KFOX 98.5 and 102.1. And we also hope that you cheer the team on as they go for their Stanley Cup championship this year. Pretty close last year. Let's make another step forward, shall we? What do you think?
You know, hey, guys, this is audience participation. If you're here for a certain team, I think it's okay if you let them know. So let's start hearing it for the teams. All right, so do we have some Spartans here?
Crazy George.
All right, where's our dogs at? Who let the dogs out?
And how about the Golden Bears? Where are they?
Well, I don't know. Those Golden Bears sound pretty loud, Dan. I don't know.
They do.
Yeah.
I think Crazy George may have to get working here on these Spartans.
I don't see enough sweat there on there yet, so you got to get.
Yeah, sure.
You really need a mic.
I need a mic for a second. You ought to see how San Jose State just ground the garlic up. It was an incredible feat. They put the garlic cloves in that machine. It spun around and it chopped up, and it really looks good. We are great at this, Dewey. Oh, we're good at this.
We got
Crazy
3
George.
minutes. 3 minutes till time 3. The Golden Bears start. We got 3 minutes. Well, does this seem like the longest 20 minutes of your lives? Sitting here waiting, tick tock, tick tock. You know, the funny thing, too, is in competitions like this, you're sitting here waiting. All of a sudden, once that clock starts, you don't realize, like, these guys, as soon as they start, they only have about 40 minutes left to finish their dishes and get them in front of the judges. So you really have to stop and think about what's going on here. And as Dan was saying, too, it's great when you work with somebody because you really got to know what they're doing. It's like hockey.
Yeah.
The teammates need to know, is he going to send it across the corner of the ice to me? Is he going to block that opponent and make sure that I can take the puck down, down ice? So
Also, prep time is an important time when the strategies can be worked out, because obviously you have to look at the condition of the food you have, the conditions of your utensils and the stove and everything else. Isn't that a time when a lot of that discussion takes place?
Well, it is, and we live just like hockey, just like sports. It's fluid. You don't know what's going to happen second to second. These guys could be cooking. That stove could all of a sudden, the wind's coming across here, and you think you have it set at one temperature, and all of a sudden it starts blowing your flame down, and it starts cooking at a different rate. So especially out here in this type of atmosphere, you really have to be prepared for anything that can come at you.
I'm noticing different styles in cooking with the two teams that are going now. We're under 3 minutes to go before Cal can get started, but I'm noticing that El Duque, as I like to call him over there, is very particular about placement and about organization. Not every chef is like that, though, are they?
No, I've worked with some chefs before that you'd think a bomb had exploded on their cutting board, but we'll lovingly refer to him now as the Duke. It'll make it easier. So, yeah, he does. And I think there's a term in our industry called mise en place. That's having everything together and prepared before you actually start cooking. So that what he's going through, that mise en place, is getting everything together, getting it sorted before he actually getting into it. Because what happen is you can start cooking and then think, okay, it's only going to take me this amount to get it ready, and then boom, next thing you know, you get thrown off. So we ready to go?
1 minute away, Jason. One minute away from the Cal Golden Bears entering the fray here.
Okay.
Once again, it doesn't really matter where you start, but it's how you finish, and that's going to
exactly
be determined
it.
by the judges.
And this isn't, to some degree, it is a game of speed, but it also, you do have 1 hour to get this done. So we're going to start. Ready? And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, count down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go, Bears.
Go Bears, they're off.
So obviously we know now the Dogs only have 40 minutes left.
That's
so
right.
they're almost halfway through their game right now. So let's wonder if they feel like they're halfway prepared, halfway not prepared. Are they feeling, hey, Dogs, how you guys feeling down here? We got a big thumbs up on being ready to go?
They're
Yes,
so
no?
busy, they're not ready to respond to you.
Yeah. But you can see, can we get a camera crew over on this side of the stove? Who's on screen right now? Where's the camera that's on screen?
Right over here at San Jose State.
Come on over on this side.
You want it over
Come
there?
on over here. I want to get a shot from over here. Here we go, because there's something we were talking about earlier. Can you get a shot of flame under there? See the flame over here on the stove? See how it's burning off to one side? See how it's moved off to one side? That's what we're talking about. See, the air up here can move across your flame and change your temperature while you're cooking. So things you have to be prepared for. Just what we're talking about up here. You have to be fluid and have to sort of watch what's going on up here.
Yeah, being outside is certainly an issue. I'm sure at Smoky Bones Bar and Fire Grill, you've had some issues over the years, haven't you?
Oh yeah, we have big smokers. We actually, one of our bailiwicks or wheelhouses barbecue. We barbecue or smoke over 150 pounds of pork shoulder a day in each one of our 65 restaurants.
Wow.
So. Yeah, you have to make sure that they're getting out at the right time and leaving it long enough and doing it proper so our guests get consistent food.
You can see this. You can see El Duque there working with a knife. I'm just always amazed the way that this works out. For me, it's difficult not to cut myself when I'm chopping food, but these guys can just fire away.
Well, as you would look in sports, here, let's come on up to do we have a camera up front here? The one thing about using a knife, it's sort of like using a lacrosse stick or a hockey stick. It becomes part of an extension of you while you're working because it's very easy to work with a knife. And I don't know if everybody can see me from up here, but when you're working with a knife, the one thing that you'll always see and every chef will tell you is always to keep the knife against the edge of your hand when you're cutting like this, so you can always feel where the knife is at. So when a chef is cooking and talking to you, the knife is against my fingers and my knuckles, so I know where it's at, and I'm using that as a guide to take and cut with it, so I always know where it's at. So again, that knife becomes an extension of your arm when you're doing that.
The hard part for me, though, is when I'm holding the knife like that, I'm afraid that what I'm cutting is going to kind of fall apart on me. How do you do that?
Well, the other thing, too, is to choke up on the knife. A lot of people think that you're supposed to grab back on the handle. Choke up and hold the knife where you're comfortable, and find one that's comfortable for your hand. Some people go, the bigger the knife, the better the job it's going to do. And then my mom, God love her, but she uses a paring knife for everything. And I try to teach her right knife for the right job. And so choke up on it, get a good grip on it. And again, always keep it against your hands. So when you're doing it like this, you always know where it's at. But when you're holding it, my thumb is against the back of the product. So it's holding it together. So I know where the knife is. I'm using my fingers as a guide, how thick to cut it, and my thumb is holding it. So in one movement, you're getting it all together.
Got it. Other interesting thing, you have 3 different knives here, 3 different lengths. What kind of uses are they for? What's different?
These two would be about the same. These are both French knives. This is more of a utilitarian knife. This would be for, like, if you're going to process chickens for stocks, things like that. It's a little bit heavier grade, a little bit wider. This is meant more for a rocking motion that I was teaching you. So you're rocking it, where this is more for a chopping kind of, like taking bones apart, taking a chicken down, something like that.
Right.
But again, more utilitarian. This is for dicing, things like that. More finer work.
Every knife has its purpose. Let's get back here and say, Let's get Sir Crazy George going with the cheer.
Okay, everybody. I've been working on this cheer for 3 straight months. It's very complicated. Every section can do it. It's a neutral cheer. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to hit my drum twice. Then you're going to yell defense. But not just any defense. This is good. Think about what I'm going to do. You yell defense while you're holding your nose. This is good stuff. Now think about it. It's the Garlic Festival. Defense. This might be the stupidest cheer ever made up, but you're going to do it. Okay, everybody, hit the drum twice, you yell defense, then you grab your nose. This is brilliance. I probably have an IQ of 180 to figure this out. Hit the drum twice, defense, grab your nose. Everybody's got to do this to make it look good. Are you ready? That is great. Do it again. Defense. See that?
Amazing. They're catching on.
This is the most amazing thing. One more time. It was so exciting.
Crazy George, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, we got little crustaceans going out on the board here.
The Spartans are coming through here. Michelle's getting the lobsters in. Live lobster, obviously, right away. What else are you preparing here?
I'm making a bacon jam.
And how are you using garlic in this dish today?
I'm using garlic in every part of my dish.
Every part of it.
And everybody, just so you know, too, a lot of people, you look at putting lobster in hot water. It's actually, one, it's humane, but two, in a lobster, if it dies when it's outside the water before it gets cooked, you only got a short period of time. There's actually an organ in the front of the head that'll make the meat break down really quickly if you don't get it cooked. So you really can't have any other choice except to stick a lobster into boiling water. There's a lot of things people say, stick them in the freezer, do this, do that. They really don't have a lot of mental capacity to understand they just got thrown in hot water. So it is the most humane way, but it is the best way to cook a lobster.
The other way is obviously use a knife as well. That's another way, right?
Yeah, you can do that too. You can separate out the claw and the tails. You know, some people like to use, just say there's meat in those little legs, even when you get to a bigger one. And that's another misnomer too. A lot of people say the bigger the lobster, the longer you got to cook it, which is not really true. A lot of people wind up overcooking a large lobster and say large lobsters are tough. No, most people just wind up overcooking them. So usually when the tail tucks over and is very firm and snaps back a little bit, we'll tell you that it's about cooked right. If you cook a lobster and the tail is wiggly, that means you really can't eat it because that breakdown thing that I told you about started happening and started deconstructing the protein in the meat. So.
Well, we're over here at the Cal table checking things out, and things are looking mighty interesting in here.
Well, it looks like, Chef, are you working with some lavender as well?
Looks like it.
What are you doing with the lavender?
It'll be on the top of an almond garlic brittle.
Okay, so she's going to be making a almond garlic brittle with some lavender on the top of it. So, you know, this is one thing in a speed competition, you're working with brittle. You know, sugar, you get to a certain point if you're, don't use some corn syrup in it, you get to a certain point with saturation and the sugar can go back to its solid self. So it's a little bit hard to work with, but not only that, it's very hot. And if it sticks to your skin, you know, you're going to be remembering it for a few weeks because it's going to really welt you.
By the way, Jason, I wanted to come over here to the Cal table and just notice something without messing it up. But this is like a piece of silicon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Tell us about the amazing things you can do with this under a lot of heat.
Well, the great thing is silicone's used in a lot of, if you'll see on some of the stations, like the chefs have these red handle rubber spatulas that the high temperature silicone. You can roll them up, muffin tins. There's so many different uses now for high temp silicone that they're so malleable and formable.
And they don't melt.
No, and so there's so many things you can do with them. There's cupcake pans, there's different kind of cake pans, different forms you can use with them. And this is great. They used to have a parchment paper,
right,
which is sort of an oil-based paper that you can use for non-stick. These can be used over and over again. So obviously good, a better green footprint too, because you're not having all that waste left in the kitchen as well.
And also in a tribute to Silicon Valley using silicon. So
yeah,
that's
exactly.
Good.
Well, I think a little bit different one,
not for the same type and not for the same use, but still pretty nice.
Hey, you guys, you know the smell of garlic up here, and there's so many different smells. You can smell garlic sweating down in oil. You can smell it caramelizing. I think some really great smells going on, and definitely the bacon coming out of there. over here. You can definitely smell that. And who doesn't love bacon? Come on, guys. I know it's a garlic festival. Let's
Garlic
give it up
bacon.
for the pig. I mean, come
What
on.
a concept.
And we always, we got our ribs going over there, so make sure you stay around later for the barbecue competition.
Yeah, my
Because-
good friend Miles McAtee is over there from High Five Catering. We got to love him.
Well, the other thing, too, is they got to remember that this is the very first barbecue competition here at the Garlic Festival. So not only do they have the bragging rights of winning, but they have the bragging rights of winning the first one ever. So if this becomes an integral part of the festival and grows over the years.
And that's the same thing for this competition
Exactly.
right here. Very
That's
first
yeah,
one.
This is the very first one as well. So I think, some very neat stuff here going on. And this is going to be interesting because, like hockey, this award is a traveling honor. They keep it for 12 months, and it goes to the next winner next year. So it's like the Stanley Cup.
Does that mean if they present this award today that they have to run around the entire area cooking surface with it up in the air?
Exactly.
Just like the
yeah,
cup?
with one on the other.
With Crazy George in front of them?
Exactly. Well, depends on who wins, I guess, though, too.
By the way, George, I know that it's a hot day today, not as hot as it's been here at the Garlic Festival in the past, but isn't the hottest guy here the mascot of the Spartans?
The toughest person on earth is the master. That must be like 200 degrees in that outfit. He is great at that.
200 degrees above zero. Amazing.
I gotta say something about the way we're cooking the bacon over there. It's a work of art the way my chef is cooking. San Jose State is so good at cooking bacon.
I love bacon, and Michelle was saying that there's some garlic in every piece of every element of the dish that San Jose State is putting together. I'm sure that's very similar to Fresno State and DeKalb today. Jason, we're getting a little closer toward the end for team number one, Fresno State.
Well, we just got team one's got 30 minutes left. So just team one, you got 30 minutes left till, again, you can present at any time your dishes are ready. You can start presenting. So, and that goes for any of our teams. If you have a dish ready, you can bring it to the judges. There's no sequence here. It is first come, first serve up there. I do notice something over here on the station that brings back some memories. Tabasco sauce. I was the executive chef for Tabasco for 11 years. I cooked on every continent in the world with this hot sauce. It's one of these global brands.
And by the way, what a lot of people don't realize or may not realize is Tabasco is a brand name.
Correct. Hey, people ask for Tabasco like they would a Kleenex
or Coca-Cola
or a Band-Aid.
Right. Or Pepsi-Cola.
It's funny because you do is people go in and say, "Oh, I want Tabasco," and they'll just accept any hot sauce. So, hey, who here's had the Chipotle Tabasco before? By raise of hands.
Look at that.
Do you like it? I invented it. So that was my addition to the Tabasco family.
You invented that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The inventor of the Chipotle Tabasco sauce. Wow, things are getting intense over here at San Jose State. El Duque is working on something there.
Yeah, so the Duke. Let's go ask the Duke. We haven't really talked to the Duke yet. So, hey, the Duke, what do you got going on down here? We see some caramelization of onions. What else you get is that?
For some onion cassis.
So is that some chicken liver I see there?
Chicken liver, yes, and a little shallot and garlic. Actually, I forgot the garlic. Thank you.
Oh, more garlic. So what are we going to do with the chicken livers?
I'm going to make a pate.
Pate. So he's going to be making a pate with that. So we're going to be pureeing it down here.
Wow, that looks awesome. Great job by the Duke, or El Duque, as I've been calling him here today.
It's one of the things, looking at chicken livers and talking about Tabasco. Has everybody here in the audience had dirty rice before? By raise of hands. Who's had dirty rice?
Oh, yeah.
Dirty rice actually has chicken liver and burger, and a lot of people think it's just burger, but it's actually the original recipe has chicken liver in it, and so it gives it that speck in there. Or they actually refer to it as rice dressing in Louisiana. The dirty rice sort of came outside the state when people saw it and said, "Oh, the rice looks dirty."
Dirty rice.
Yeah. Hence
what
the name.
What a concept.
Yeah, really, exactly, huh? It's funny, too, the melting pots. Let's talk about, French. We had the French get exiled. Part of the French got exiled to Canada. A lot of those French Canadians moved down to southern part of Louisiana.
That's where the term Cajun comes from, by the way, because it was somebody saying that they were Acadian, which is Acadia is the maritime provinces of Canada, and they moved to the south. They didn't maybe understand French or maybe the accent, and they turned that into Cajun.
Exactly. And so the other part is you have the Spanish influence. So you have paella, which is a Spanish dish.
Right.
You take the charcuterie and sausage making of the French, and now you have jambalaya, which jambalaya is just an offshoot of paella. So when you look at the construct paella, which is a rice-based dish with saffron and sausage and seafood, now you have the same thing with jambalaya.
I got to ask Crazy George, is all this food talk making you hungry?
Very hungry. I want to do a cheer right now.
Go right ahead.
Okay, everybody, this is another neutral cheer for the whole group. In 1981, October 15th, 1981, I invented the wave. We're going to now do the 37th anniversary or whatever year.
35th.
What is it?
35th.
35th, thanks. I can't add 35 in. So we're going to start a wave. Everybody do it for your school. We're going to start the wave right at this end. It's going to go this way. When it gets to there, it jumps back and starts again. Everybody's got to do it. Don't make me mad. All right, here we go.
Gotta get the mic in here.
All right, get the mic in. We're going to start here. It's going to go that way, go around, and get there, then start over there. Make it look good. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3,
Go, go,
Go,
go. Get the
go,
wave,
go,
get the
go,
wave.
go, 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 go,
Look at
go,
that, look
go,
at that,
go,
look
go,
at that, look at that,
go.
look at that.
Back
Go,
her
go,
up,
go,
back
keep
her
it
up,
going,
back
keep
her
it
up,
going.
back her up.
And
Let's
go,
go.
go. Yeah.
Go.
Love it,
Go,
love it, love
here
it.
we go. Here we go. We got a twofer. Let's see if we can get 3 in the bucket.
How about
there you
3?
go. One more. Here we go. Come on. Let's go. There we go. One more. Here we go. All right, let's
The triple.
go. All right, guys, give yourselves a hand. There's 3 of them.
Hey, George, how did you come up with this wave thing?
Well, it took me about 3 years, but I did it the Oakland A's New York Yankee playoff game. Started in the 3rd inning. The A's were great. We lost the game.
Look at that bacon going.
The A's are having a pretty good season this year, by the way.
You're not kidding. They're doing great.
We love it. Crazy George, a legend.
Let's talk to our ladies over here, the Golden Bears. Hey, Chef, I've been watching you over here. So you've got some amazing knife skills. I wish I could still cut julienne that well. So what do you got going on in the pan over here?
I'm starting the summer hash.
Summer hash, what's in that?
It has 7 different vegetables from onion, garlic, zucchini, corn, fennel, celery, and carrot.
Don't
Is
you
that
hate
all
it
of
when
them?
some big guy gets in your face with the mic when you're trying to cook? So she's got a summer hash going. It actually sounds quite delicious. And, it's a great change because hash traditionally is a root vegetable. So I think it's a great twist to what's usually done with more turnips, rutabaga, beets, that kind of stuff. So really interesting to see how that comes out in the end.
By the way, Jason, Executive Chef Eric DeBod has informed me that Fresno State is going to be starting to plate in less than 2 minutes.
Okay, so judges, if you guys want to start meandering back to the table. So, guys, you don't forget this is a first-come, first-serve when it comes to the table. So whenever your plates are ready, you can just start bringing them up for the judges to look at. Don't be taken by the time and when you started. So we got our lobsters over here.
Lobsters are looking good. By the way, Jason, the plating procedure, especially when you're under time pressure, is often where a competition is won and lost on presentation. Tell me about the challenge of dealing with that.
Well, it's because you're usually so stressed and breathing at such a rapid rate from running. Your hands are shaking. The adrenaline just pumping, and it's such a visceral moment when you're trying to get the plate up. And you got to look at a plate. So the center of your plate, we'll take one of these octagonal plates here. The center of your plate you have to look at is like the canvas of a painting. You want all your painting in the middle and the border of the plate to be your frame. And so you want everything neatly inside of that. And with symmetry and balance, that has an eye appeal. So when you set the plate, to me, your eyes should be going all over, not one drawn focus to it. So you're looking at the entire plate and not drawn to one side. So besides being just anxious and the adrenaline, you really had to pay attention to the detail.
Let's watch Eric as he gets the plating started right here at Fresno State's table. Jason, why don't you explain what's going on?
Well, what he's doing is the process is called napping. He's actually taking the spoon and laying the sauce onto the plate, which, again, you see a lot more integral stuff done today with plate presentations and food because people eat with their eyes. And when you sit down at the table, you really want the food to have a great visual appearance because that stimulates your appetite. And one of the things today, too, that's become very popular in dining is tapas style, which is small plates like he's doing here, because what happens is now, I guarantee it, how many people go to dinner, they order something, and they take a couple of bites, they look at what the person across them's eating and say, I want that, I want to try it. How many people? So
every
now,
day.
now with tapas, you can get a small bite, then try something else. So the way people are really moving towards with dining these days is to do the tapas style.
By the way, teams can present in 2 different ways, Jason. A 5 tasting tapa-style plates for the judges and 1 show plate for display, or a family-style platter with at least 5 portions. What's the difference in the presentation for you in the contest?
Well, for me, it's either or. It depends on what you're making. Sometimes it's actually easier to do like he's done here with the crepes where he's bundled them up. And what he's actually done is taken a scallion and tied it. What you actually have to do to get these to tie is you have to blanch them just right, just enough to get them to tie.
Interesting.
But where they don't get rubbery and break apart. So you can do that with a leek string. There's a few other things. And look, he's using the garlic as a simple garnish, but we can show it if he has an extra piece. When it's done, it'll be very soft and spread like butter. So when you're eating that, you can actually just
spread it yourself.
Exactly.
Well, this is looking awfully nice.
Now, Chef, is there also lavender inside the
Lavender, I
filling?
see, yes.
There's lavender inside the sauce and tarragon inside the sauce.
Okay, so there's lavender and tarragon inside the sauce. So what's happening here is the garnish is helping denote what one of the flavor profiles is of the dish, as well as adding a visual appearance as well.
Very, very particular, as Chef Eric DeBod has put this all together.
And so now one of the things, too, is we have the lobster over here. Do we have that up on the screen over here somewhere? You see what she's done. See, the lobster's not quite cooked all the way. She's done is blanched it just enough for it to separate away from the shell, because she's going to obviously do some other type cooking method to it as well. And see where she has her finger right here is actually where you can tell the sex of the lobster. That's a male, and if it has a flatter one, it's a female.
Huh.
And a lot of people ask when they have a lobster, I'd like a female one, because the female a lot of times has the roe inside, what they call the tamale.
Sure.
And so some people really like that really strong flavor that goes along with it. You have 2 claws on a lobster, the pincher claw and the crusher claw. This claw right here could crush a 1/4-inch dowel with no problem. And they usually eat some kind of shellfish. Now, see how that's separated out really nicely?
Yes.
Had she not blanched that, it would have come out a lot harder.
Well, that's a very, very creative job being done here.
Yes, it is.
That's not just creative.
All right,
this
so
is
Team
this
2, we're
is
down to
miracle
30
here.
minutes now.
30 minutes left, and look at how she's showing
So that
this
means Team 1's
lobster.
at 20. So we got a play presentation going on, do we? Yeah, the judges are now.
Crazy George urging him on. Well, here at the judges' table, everything is being presented, including the pouring of the wine. We have a Sarah's Vineyard Chardonnay. Fresno State being tested here as Crazy George warms up the Spartans, but Sarah's Vineyard from right here in the Gilroy area is a very famous Chardonnay. It's been here for a long time. Small vineyard. They do a wonderful job in Chardonnay, and they also have a very interesting Pinot Noir, which a lot of people don't expect from this part of California necessarily, at least from Gilroy. So pretty good. It's a Monterey-style Pinot Noir. So the Chardonnay that they're serving, though, a terrific one that you should check out.
Yeah, I've actually had that before. I collect wine sort of as a hobby. One of my favorite regions is the Paso area, actually a little bit more south of here. Lenny Coloto, I don't know if you ever had them. It's a small producer.
I have not had it, but I've heard of it.
Lenny Coloto does a great job. You ever had Cherry Red? If you get a chance, try it. It's a small block wine that they make. It's unbelievable. Another one, Lone Madrone, that comes out of that area. Some great wines out of the Paso area. So if you haven't got a chance to get down there, great tastings, and it's a great area. It's a little bit more laid back than Napa, I think, but some just great juice coming out of there.
A little more like Sonoma in the approach.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
the Santa Cruz Mountains to a degree, kind of a combination of the two.
Oh, definitely. And it's in just the folks down there, and there's a lot of other things going down there as far as shopping and stuff too when you get down that area.
Yeah,
so.
I stayed in Los Olivos one time, and that's a real good base of operations to get around. You can get all the great wineries.
We stayed at, what's that one hotel down that way with all the different rooms?
Well, I remember the restaurant, Remington's.
No, the hotel that's got all the different. Oh, the Madonna. Yeah, that place was a trip. Stayed there one time. Yeah,
I've never stayed there.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Now, let's have a little commentary here, Jason, on what the judges are experiencing here.
Well, so the first thing that I would do when I judge is first thing is the overall appearance. and is what am I looking at? Is it, delivering to expectation? Because the judges actually have the recipes and what's in front of them. So you have a certain set expectation by reading what the recipe is. And they're also knowledgeable what the product is. Is the crepe, is it light, is it fluffy, is it gummy? What's the textural pieces of it? Does the filling have an appropriate flavor? There's three things that sort of hard as a chef that you always have to deal with that people never agree on. That's salt, sugar, and spice. What I find is not spicy. You'll find, way too spicy. What I say is not salty, you'll say it's too salty. What I say is sweet, you may say it's not sweet. So some of that stuff is a little bit left to the personal taste of the chef. But there's certain other things. If it says it's a caramelized corn, did they truly caramelize it or did they overcharge? So there's certain flavor notes that you're actually looking for as well, or cues from the description of the item that came out.
And, of course, what about when you also taste some of the wine? Are you checking to see how it pairs well with whatever it is, or how does that work?
Yeah, I'm sure that this was set up in a way of pairing with the wine is, again, especially with a nice crisp white like this and the fattiness of having a lavender sauce on the side, is you wanted that little bit of acidity and butterness to sort of take through and sort of clear your palate and work it well with it. And it looks like this would be a great pairing to go together.
My experience with Sarah's is it's not an overly buttery Chardonnay, so it's probably a very nice pairing with this.
Yeah, especially I don't think I've had this one. Is it an unoaked or?
Let's see. I think it's unoaked. Yes. That's my guess. By the way, I'd like to introduce a couple of the other judges that are here that we didn't introduce earlier. We already met Ward and Biot, and we met Tucker, but also here from Cisco, San Francisco, the food company, is Executive Chef Jay Marshall. Let's hear it for Jay. And from an outstanding educational institution in the San Jose area, the Harker Schools, Danae McLaughlin, the Executive Sous Chef and Director of Special Events. They are joining all of the other judges here today. Meanwhile, back out in the kitchen, there's still a lot of activity going on.
Yeah, I think we're going to see it right up to the end here because we should be at about 15 minutes on Team 1 where's our timer at. But we have 15 on it? How long? Yeah, that's when you know you've been doing these things too long. You know exactly how long it was. About 15 minutes. I didn't even look at my watch.
Boy, that's
because
good.
You get to start to know how long these things are starting to time down as well. So, you can see they're getting their plates ready to get set up for their next delivery to the judges as well. So how are we doing over here? What you looking like, Chef?
I'm looking pretty good.
No, I mean your food.
I think the chef looks great.
So do you still hate this big guy keeps jamming his mic in your face while you're trying to get food done?
No, not quite.
Imagine if you didn't know the recipe and trying to do this.
Yeah.
That's what I had to deal with last year. So, hey, so don't forget on tomorrow on the stage, we got a lot of great things going on here, a lot of great demonstrations. We're obviously using garlic, so make sure you come by and see that. And on Sunday is when I get to compete again, defend my title. So come on down, cheer me on. So just so you know, last year, as Dan was saying, the money that's made here at the Garlic Festival of $10 million over the past 35 years have been donated to over 160 charitable organizations in the city. So let's give it a round out to all the volunteers and stuff here for the Garlic Festival. Just want people to know that the money you're spending here is going to great causes. So last year, I won $5,000, and I donated my money to Alzheimer's in San Francisco to keep that charitable going on. If I win this year, it's going to American Cancer. So come on down, cheer us on for a win.
And what about the barbecue competition coming up a little later?
Yeah, so we got ribs cooking over there on the side. Again, this is the first time they've done barbecue here, so really looking forward to see garlic interpretation barbecue. I've judged Jack Daniel's barbecue about 4 or 5 times, and a couple other ones. I've done Memphis in May, which is undoubtedly the nation's biggest barbecue competition. I mean, there's teams that have tents as big as this one set up to do barbecue.
So Memphis in May, Memphis, Tennessee is larger
Right.
than anything in Texas or Kansas City or anything.
Yeah. You literally could use a golf cart to get around it.
That's a lot of
it's
ribs.
huge. I mean, when I say and this is nowhere to lie, a barbecue team, the size of this stage would have an area 2 stories high with a dance club up above it. I mean, it's crazy.
By the way, would you consider it creative if someone in the barbecue competition created a garlic version of Jack Daniel's to put into their barbecue?
Well, Jack Daniels, the Jack Daniels barbecue competition is actually invite only. You have to be a Grand National champion to actually get invited there. And in a sauce, yeah, I think it would be, because the hard thing about whiskey and sauces is when you heat or volatilize the alcohol, it flashes
Evaporates,
off.
right.
So it's really hard to get a good whiskey flavor naturally, or that you don't just spray it on and put it on at the last minute. So it would be very interesting to see that.
Whiskey combining with garlic. You never know what could happen around here.
Well, hey, it couldn't be a bad thing, right? Just add bacon and you're really good.
Well, San Jose State's got bacon going, and of
Yeah.
course, Fresno State made their presentation, and now they got
Actually, it
more
looks
stuff
like they're
going.
doing another plating up
Another
down here.
plating, yes.
All right, so what Chef is doing right now is he's taking those spoons and moving them back and forth together. That's called a cornell, and it's a way to make a nice sort of oblong shape. You'll see it's got three sides to it. It's flattened out on one side, see it sort of turn up. That's called a cornell when you twist in the spoons like that.
Cornell, that's a university in New York.
Yes, that as well.
The Fresno State fans getting involved, that's going to get Crazy George all upset. They're doing a great job. Eric Chefdebot and also Brian Kramer, the sous chef, are really doing a very creative job of making their plates look fabulous.
Well, the other thing, too, is the teams are really maximizing and using their time efficiently to ensure, one, they have great quality presentation and product that's going on here. Here's a duck that we saw cooking earlier going on to the plate as well. It's a nicely thin slice. You can see it's very juicy. One of the important things with duck is that we talk about melting the fat down to get that nice brown skin. The other thing is you have to let it relax after you cook it. Whenever you cook, whether it's duck, chicken, steak, what happens is the heat on the outside is drawing the moisture to the outside. You want to let it relax for a little bit so gravity pulls the moisture back into the meat. And so it's nice and moist in the center. If you take it right from the grill, put it right on the plate, it has a tendency sometimes to be dry in the middle.
And for the average cook, a lot of people forget, obviously, that as it's resting, it does
It's
also
cooking.
continue to
Yeah,
cook.
that's called carryover cooking. Yes,
right.
it is.
Very important to know when to take it off.
Yes, exactly.
10 minutes for Team 1, 10 minutes left for Team 1.
And so that would mean 20 for Team
30.
2, and 30.
So 20 minutes for San Jose State, 30 minutes for Cal. So far, Fresno State has had one successful plating, and now they're doing their second. That crepe looked really interesting, especially using the scallion to tie.
Yeah, it did. You know, and that's one thing is you should really look at when you're putting a dish together is, are the garnishes edible? You know, a lot of times you go in, they put something on a plate and it's not edible. I really think personally that when you set a plate that the entire thing should be edible. And that's really important to me, you know, so to use that scallion. So let's, while you're watching those folks, let's go over and talk to the judges a bit.
Yeah,
and
sure.
see what they're thinking about. So they've already had one tasting. So judges, one of the things that we just talked about over here was when you garnish a plate. My feeling personally is that the garnish should be edible and something representative of the dish. Tucker, what's your opinion on that?
Agreed, fully.
Any comments? No, good.
I agree 100%. If it's on the plate, you better be able to eat it.
Exactly. And it good too, like the lavender on it was a visual cue that lets you know there is some lavender in there. Chef, what's your thoughts on that?
I think a garnish is almost not needed anymore if the rest of the plates look good. So I think just put the emphasis in the dishes, the main ingredients you have on the plate, so then you don't have to put a cherry tomato and some watercress on a plate, which is really outdated.
Yeah, exactly. And minimalistic approaches today are exactly what you need to do. Is the food should speak for itself and the way it hits the table and comes to the table. You shouldn't have to be this architectural food anymore, and it takes 3 people to balance the plate to get it to the table and all those other things. So now as the writer here, so what is your thought so far?
Well, I'm not a writer, actually, but nevertheless, I'm an editor, and I thought I must still be in the architectural phase because I thought the presentation was really good. I thought it was very attractive and appealing.
No, when we say architectural, there was a point in time where if food would come out as 3 feet tall, the minute you touch it with a fork, it'd fall apart on you. This would be more of an artistic, sort of minimalist approach to a very attractive food. So you're correct, everybody else is writing then. You tell them when they're right and wrong, or... And Chef, so we didn't get to talk to you earlier, so tell me some of your approaches to food and what you're looking for today when they're bringing food up.
Of course, I'm looking for creativity. I'm looking for flavors that, if I'm reading this recipe, I want to taste exactly what they're saying that I'm going to get. To the lavender, I think it would have been better served as maybe just a dust on top of the crepe instead of a stick.
No, I agree. Actually, you know, I'm not saying, but I know I do agree that the lavender could have been put into a salt maybe or something as a dusting on it that would have still given a cue, maybe a coloring. But again, you can't eat the stick of lavender. Cue what's in there, but again, not part of the edible garnish.
Jason, we have another plating ready, and the Fresno State fans were very excited about
Okay,
this one.
so Fresno, you're gonna they're bringing the last plate up. So these guys, their towels down. So you want to give them a hand?
Yes. Brian Kramer, sous chef. Eric DeBod, executive chef. Meanwhile, things are getting exciting here at the Cal table. The Bears.
Yeah, the Bears are
coming along here.
Yeah, very meticulous. You were talking before about the Duke working meticulous. These ladies of the Golden Bears are definitely taking their time and being meticulous about putting their food together. What are you doing now? I see you're doing some kind of emulsification, chef.
Yes, it's a toum. It's a Lebanese garlic aioli with only garlic, lemon juice, salt, and oil.
Are you supposed to be shaking the oil in your hands
No,
like
that's
that?
courtesy of this competition.
As we said before, you get up here and the adrenaline starts pumping, and exactly what I was talking about, when you're setting a plate, your hands and your heartbeat are you're trying to slow down and concentrate. It becomes very difficult. I'll tell you what, the chef was talking about the summer hash she was working on. I don't know, Dan, that's a very attractive summer dish.
Boy, is it ever. Very colorful, too.
Yeah, it is.
Really
And
wonderful.
so what are we serving that hash with?
Seared halibut.
So you're doing it just for the halibut. Yes.
Very finny.
Yeah,
Very finny.
Very finny, yeah. I got hooked into it. And on that note, so as we see, the chef has got the brittle done up here on the silicone pad. So that's just really attractive. It's got a really nice sheen to it. So I don't want to touch it because I want to see what happens with it if it becomes brittle. And out here, it's really difficult brittle because the heat can affect it. It may not break or snap. So it'll be interesting to see if it got cooked to the right temperature.
Are there any secrets to make that happen in a temperature setting like this?
Well, yes and no. I mean, you've just got to get it cooked to the right temperature. There's what they call a soft ball, which is more of a taffy style, and a hard ball is where it cracks is the temperature of the sugar. And with cooking taffies and stuff, you actually have to put something like a corn syrup or something in because sugar actually hits a certain saturation point and wants to go back to being granular again, and all of a sudden just sort of stiffen right up on you. Has anybody tried to make candy at home before? Has anybody had it where you're heating the sugar and all of a sudden it goes back to what it originally looked like? The sugar hit the oversaturation point. You need something to break the matrix of it. So using corn syrup or something like that will make that happen.
Yeah, I like to experiment a little in Russian style cooking, and I tried to make an Alexander tort, and a very similar thing kind of happened with the sugar in that.
Yeah, it does, and the same thing can happen with chocolate too. So it's one of those things. Once you hit it, there's no recovery. You sort of got to go back to. We went to a restaurant last night over in Monterey, 1833. We did a Russian-style service of absinthe.
Really?
Which was interesting. Yeah, they heated up in a brandy snifter and then poured it into an orange juice. Then they captured the vapors. So you had to use a straw to suck the vapor out of the glass and then do a shot. Could have been an interesting way to do a shot, too.
Is that where we're going after this competition's over? That sounds great.
So we got down. So where's our timer? How are we doing on Team 2 there? How much time they got left? We should probably be about 8 minutes.
14 minutes.
So 14 minutes left. So we have some cherry tomatoes that look like they've been poached here with, is that tarragon, chef, or basil? Basil.
Basil.
From the lobster broth and the basil and garlic.
And so as you can see the white in there, that's actually partly from the garlic and also from the lobster as well.
Sure, it makes sense.
Then looking at that lobster, she's done a great job keeping the pieces whole. Those tails look really nice. They're curled just enough so you can tell the lobster's still going to be nice and tender as well. Hey, so Duke, how do you think your pate's coming out over here? You happy with the way it's going?
It's really hot. I'm about to pass out, but it's okay. I'm still going to go.
Here, turn around. Here we go. There you go.
A little water for the Duke. By the way, let's hear it for the Duke.
Yeah, let's hear it for the Duke.
El Duque. He's giving an all-star performance along with all of the other chefs.
It's just complete. Did you notice the garlic on the side right here? You don't usually see that. Stop, you're moving on us. We're trying to point it out, the garlic on the side of your face. That's sort of interesting.
That's awesome.
Where did you get that done?
The children's area.
Oh.
Really?
So you think if I showed up, they'd do me? Yeah.
Another thing you can do here at the Gilroy Garlic Festival is to get your face painted with garlic.
Yeah.
And that obviously comes direct from the Children's Center, and you'll smell like garlic just like all of us.
And two, I
Having
know
fun, by the
this
way?
year, which is new to the festival this year, is fried calamari over in the Gourmet Alley. So make sure you guys get over and try that. You know, they've had the regular calamari over in the Pyro Chef's area, but now they've got fried calamari this year, right? Yeah, so make sure you get over there and give that a try.
It's almost like no man's land right now because it's almost too late to change something that goes wrong, but also this the calm before the storm, before the plating.
Well, you know, that's it. We're almost at a line of no returning because of the fact that we are getting down to the end of the time. We are going to get to that point of where they're going to start getting up on top of each other, of getting stuff in. So it's going to be interesting to see as we get closer here, getting the food to the judges in efficient time to where they can take a look at it and not get staggered up here on that list.
Now the judges are making through the second course of Team Fresno State rather rapidly. They
So we had the duck here, we had the fig. So any comments on the food itself?
It's actually been amazing. I'm pleasantly surprised at how polished these two dishes really are.
Okay, the man of many words.
If I told you anything, I'd have to kill you.
Again. That's twice I've had my life threatened about asking about food. So let's move over to the safe side of the table.
I liked it. I thought it was very creative. The taste to me is very good. I love the garlic butter and the presentation of it. And this is one of those things that you can eat everything in the plate.
That's great. Chef, was this something that you would serve on Pebble Beach?
I would be proud serving that at Pebble Beach, actually. I saw the plate presentation. The first impression was really good. It really looked appetizing. It had some nice colors and differentiations. I was a little bit looking for the garlic around the duck, but then the goat cheese on top of the fig was outstanding. It had a nice creamy flavor to it as well.
So a good sweet salty combination of the goat cheese and the fig worked well together.
It did work very well together.
And it's great. We're right in a great season, I think, too, for figs right now. So it was great use of a seasonal product as well. Chef?
Yeah, I think Fresno used some of their local products on both of their plates, and I was very happy with both of them.
Yeah, I think he said corn was one of the other ones. How did you like the corn and the crepe? Was that a nice preparation of the corn?
I just thought it was not prevalent enough, that it was very small. When he cut it off the cob, he cut it very thinly. To me, it could have been bigger kernels in there, which you could have a bite from it, get some texture with it as well.
How was this is from standing back from a visual appearance, how was the crepe folded? Did you feel that it was folded properly enough to give a nice even to the amount of crepe to filling, or did you feel that there was more crepe than filling at some points?
I think it was even. The texture was good. It was a great savory crepe. It wasn't sweet. It was nice.
Well, a good guy for the French guy gets the crepe right?
He's got to. Obviously.
I'll just walk away with my.
We're under, by the way, Jason, under 10 minutes now, a little bit less than that, maybe about 7 minutes left in Team 2's journey to plating.
Maybe they're going to double down, Dan. Maybe they're just going to take them both up at once and just get it to them all at one time. So
Crazy George is doubling down, I'll tell you that. I think he's got it. You ready for a cheer?
All right, everybody.
But I think he's doubling down on something else. So
But here it is. I never, ever do anything for referees or umpires, but today, to show our appreciation for the judges, I want everybody to clap along to the drum. Let's show the judges we appreciate their time. Thanks for being here. This is a neutral cheer. I'm not trying to bribe you, all you judges. Everybody, every school, clap for the judges. Follow my drum.
Follow the drum, everybody. Crazy George.
Yeah, so we're talking about presentations. Look at both chefs here now doing their plate sets, and you can see we're talking about execution and plate presentation. So the chef is using, it looks like, is that an aioli, chef, that you're using? So she's using
mayo.
And it looks like almost a brioche with some brie melted on it. Is that correct? And so she's using that mayo to keep it in place so when the plate moves and she's plating it, that's going to keep it centered. Now the Duke used, it looks like, is that a balsamic reduction? That he's used a squirt bottle to put a nice design on the plate with as well for his plate presentation. That's something you see a lot more often now, is using either what they call a pipette, which is like a small turkey baster, for lack of a better term, or squeeze bottles now to get a really nice design on the plate as well. And again, we were talking about this mise en place. Look how the Duke has his stuff set up here. He looks like, is that some creminis you have here, Duke? Is that some creminis you have here? Oysters. So he's got like a mixed mushroom, some onions here, and some, is that broccolini or broccoli rabe?
It's spinach.
Spinach. So we got some spinach here, garlic. So he's setting his plate up. And what is the actual name of this plate, chef?
The what?
The plate, the entrees.
It's a deconstructed beef Wellington.
Oh, it's a deconstructed beef Wellington. So
Beautiful.
that means we're going to look for some pastry. So the mushroom here would be the duck sal part of that's inside the Wellington. The foie gras, maybe that's why I was talking about the foie gras, but that's a big no-no now here in California, isn't it?
Unfortunately, it is.
Yeah, what's that about?
Call your legislators.
It's not my legislator. I live in Florida. We can eat all we want.
Well, we'll buy it in Nevada and bring it over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just email me. I'll send it to you. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we're doing. Everything looks great up here. So, and it's going to be interesting because both the chefs here from the Spartans are plating up at the same time. So they're going to sort of double down on the judges if they both go up at the same time. So. Actually, maybe like a surf and turf. You got the lobster, you got the beef. So maybe it's going to be.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Was that? Did I let the secret
That's
out of the bag? Yeah.
One of the secrets of the San Jose State master plan was to have surf and turf for the judges.
Yeah, we were talking about. So you got. Wait. You got to see. Get the chef's hands. Wait, get the chef's hands over here. Her
5 minutes, by the way. 5 minutes.
Her hands are shaking like a screen door in a hurricane. I mean, she is so nervous. But trust me, come here Sunday, I'll be doing the same exact thing. So, but she's doing a great job. The plates look wonderful.
Michelle's doing great.
Yeah. So we got down to 5 minutes now for the Spartans.
Less than 5.
Less than 5. So what's less than 5 mean? Let's get a little more accurate.
About 4:20.
4.5 now. Tick tock, tick tock. You feel the pressure yet? Do you feel the pressure yet? We there yet? You feel the pressure yet? We there yet?
That was really nice of you to do that.
Hey, trust me, I'll get it done to me, so won't be the first time. So now Duke's actually taking and getting his beef so he can sort of fan it out a little bit.
Kobe beef.
It's Kobe beef. So is this California Kobe or is this actual
Aussie Kobe?
Australian Kobe. So it's true about Kobe beef. They actually do feed it beer and massage it. What that does is it gives the cow the munchies, actually, so they eat a lot, so you get layers of fat in it, and they do massage it to make it true Kobe beef. So it's not really a lie. I've been to in Roppongi, Tokyo, to have.
What time were you at the Roppongi?
not that late.
All right, just checking.
And
it's one of those neighborhoods, folks.
Yeah, it's a couple city blocks of interesting areas, we'll say.
Good local color.
Yeah, but they have the best teppanyaki in this one area. If you ever do get to Roppongi, the TGI Fridays, like 2 doors down, has the best teppanyaki I've ever had anywhere. So it's great to look at this way. He's getting us set up with the deconstructed beef. The chef's getting the lobster set up here. So we are getting closer. What's the countdown now for the Spartans? What's the countdown
What's our
now?
countdown, Mike?
Mike, what's our countdown now?
3 minutes.
3 minutes, guys. You got 3 minutes to get this to the judges. So no pressure. Tick tock, tick tock.
Meanwhile, a little more time for the Cal Golden Bears. Looks like they're starting to play,
but that means
too.
they got about 12 minutes. So they got a little bit more room to breathe. We got Chef over there is panning up her summer hash that she was talking about. That looks really
2
nice.
minutes.
She's got her fish going in the pan. She's using a ring mold now to set up the hash in the bowl. And she's doing is elevating. It's called traditionally the term sakal would be used to elevate and present food, traditionally more bread, but she's going to use the hash in that manner to lift the food and show it.
In other words, at the very end.
Yeah, and exactly. And here's the neat thing.
It also keeps it separated from the rest of the presentation.
But I want you to know what Chef's doing. She has 4 smaller plates here, 5 smaller plates, and 1 larger. So that's her show plate. And then she's doing some tapas-style service. So a great ingenious part on her part to do the small part, then do the bigger show plate for the actual show to the chefs and to the up here as well. And what she's doing right now is trying to compress that down in there so when she pulls the ring mold off, that it keeps its form when it comes off of there. Because if she lifted it right now, it would all just sort of fall all over the place.
But in a few minutes, it'll be different.
Exactly, exactly.
2 minutes, ladies
2
and gentlemen.
minutes.
2 minutes for group number 2, which means they have 12 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
So 2 minutes for San Jose State, 12 minutes for Cal.
Yeah, and the chef's just getting her wiped down the plate. And again, you know, even though it doesn't have a solid rim, it has an imaginary rim. You want your artwork in the center, and your frame clean on the outside. So,
just a procedural thing, even though it looks okay. You make sure.
You make sure, no fingerprints, no anything. You want to make sure that when that goes to the table, it just has the best vision. Again, you can see the way she's sort of laying it all over. That your eye's not drawn to any one part of the plate. It's sort of all over. So. The Duke looks like he's got to sort of get moving there a little bit. I don't know what he's got left on there, but he's let's go.
1 minute,
we got
60 seconds.
60 seconds, guys, 60 seconds. And so let's get out of the way because we're going to have food come flying up here now. So we got 60. Let me give me, let's see, 45 seconds.
45
We
already.
got 45 seconds. We have to add the plates to the judges. So we're on the trays at least. So we don't have them on the trays in how long now?
How long, Mike?
How long do I have to feed the food
30,
on the trays?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Better have the food on the trays or the old Spartans are going to be spotless at the judges. So
Crazy
we got to
George.
get them on the trays. This is coming right down to we got to get it on these trays.
There's only one way to describe this. This
so
is
how,
crazy.
where are we at now?
This is
15 seconds.
This.
So
This is amazing.
we're going to get them on these trays. Got to get them on the trays. Let's go.
10.
Get them
9,
on the trays. Get them
8,
on the trays.
7.
On the
6,
trays.
5,
Get 'em on
4,
the trays.
3, 2,
There you go.
1. Boy, look at that. That looks great.
Boy, talking about taking it right down to the last minute.
They had everything plated before the buzzer.
Yeah, that was a little close. I was starting to breathe a little bit heavy on that one. Wondering if we were going to get it
You
over.
knew El Duque was going to come through. Come on.
Yeah, but you see at the last minute, though, he was trying to do that Cornell, and that's it. You saw how long it took the chef from the Dogs to do.
Team 3 has 10 minutes. The Cal Bears, 10 minutes. Well, this is really exciting being
and
here.
so now we've had 3 teams now, and all 3 of them use the Cornell in some way, shape, or form. Chef here, and she, again, that adrenaline's pumping. Look at those hands.
Explain what a Cornell is again.
Again, it's a very nice way to make a 3-sided shape to put on the plate. See, she's using the 2 spoons, and watch how she'll scoop it up and then mold it. See how she's scooping once, twice, 3 times, and set it down. 2, 3, then on the we'll get a 4th in there and move onto the plate. See, it makes a nice shape. It's octagonal when it comes out on there. So it's
Looks
a really
beautiful.
so that's called a Cornell when you spoon it off like that.
Let's hear it for the Spartan team. Michelle Rogers, Carlos Duque. They did a great job, and now it's in the hands of the judges.
But
Surf and turf. So this is unique.
the hard part is the fact that the dishes now, the judges are going to be sort of stacked here with dishes because now the other one's sitting back there sort of waiting. That maybe again better use of time to get this stuff ready because now we've got one sitting here that needs to get tasted.
Now they can't put it in the warmers if they need to, right?
Well, they can put it in the warmers, but the problem is, you see, she has that's the microgreens on there.
Right.
That they'll start
You don't
going
want
down.
that,
So
yeah.
they're set right now. So, and they both had a microgreen on there, and a pastry as well too. So the pastry can get a little bit soggy if you put it in there. So that's interesting too. I didn't notice. Hey, chef, when did you make the pâte à choux? I missed that at some point in time, huh? See,
Early
so
on.
pâte à choux is actually it's a pastry made with eggs and actually almost like a roux. So you take flour and butter, cook it together, and you whisk the eggs in, and when you pipe it out like that, it sort of puffs up. To a traditional would be for like an eclair or something like that.
That's very pleasing looking too. The way that that sous chef Ida put that together.
Yeah, no, that was actually it was funny that I did see her making a pastry bag early on. So.
Ida, by the way, is the Associate Director Culinary at the University of California, Berkeley. She has a big team of executive chefs at Cal Dining and oversees the menu and the product development. Helps to maintain the nutrition of the students, which is very important.
So here we go. See how the brittle. So look, the brittle got a nice crack on it. It's nice. It's a little soft, but it's got a nice shape to it. And the interesting part, she's taking sort of a sweet savory approach to what she's doing here with the brittle and her presentation. So, but you can still hear the nice crunch to it. So
yeah, very much so. As Chef Ida mentioned, it's a little soft to her liking, but we can hear it crunch quite well. Not used to the weather.
Yeah.
Little chillier.
So just let me get this right. You live in California, not used to the weather. I guess drive 60 miles. I just came over from Monterey this morning, and literally I went from a sweatshirt to this. So
welcome to California.
Exactly.
Drive 4 hours and you're in Tahoe. You know, that's the same thing.
So the chefs,
Surf and ski, same week.
Yeah, so the chefs now are double down on our team over here with the Spartans. They're really, having to really do a surf and turf of the tasting here, which sometimes as a judge can be a little confusing because you can see their tables get a little cluttered. But also
it is a risk, isn't it?
Well, it's a risk too because also each dish is supposed to be represented by itself, and now you get some sort of flavors that. Are going together that even though you don't get what's called an intermezzo, something to clean the palate in between. Even though we have the wine, to be honest too, the wine's been sitting out a little while. Remember how the glass are condensating before? They're not really condensating, so it's not as crisp as it was when it first came out. So it'll be interesting to see and listen to their responses afterwards. Did that affect the flavor and the tasting and the things that they're doing here? The breakdown of the deconstructed Wellington, I think, is a unique idea as far as it. And actually, last year when I did the Iron Chef, I did a form of Wellington. I actually used a chili rub filet, did a mushroom duck salad, but then used one of the flatbreads as sort of pastry, cut it into sort of flapped it around it. Did a root vegetable hash. Ready for this one? A caramelized shallot, garlic, and pancetta hollandaise.
Yummy.
You want to talk about a heart attack on a plate?
Tough.
So yeah, it was really good. So
that's good for the coagulation.
We're down to 5 minutes for the girls to the Bears. You can see now she's removing those form rings. You can see how nice that's set up.
They've set nicely.
Yeah, and it looks like she's got a nice broth going in there as well. That fish is cooked absolutely perfect. I mean, see how it's nice and golden. It's staying
golden for golden bears.
Exactly. You can see that piece that she just put her knuckles against. You can see the nice white flake on the fish. I mean, that's just a great preparation, a great pan-sear on the fish. I really love the broth that she has on the bottom of that as well. So really nice plate presentations.
And on the end, the Cornell.
Yeah. Old Shakey's at it again. No, I'm sorry. You can come razz me on Sunday. How's that?
You'll be defending your Iron Chef title on Sunday?
Yeah, I'll be defending on Sunday. No matter what, it's always a fun event to get in here and try. Chef Jay Minzer, who's going to be doing some demos tomorrow, is going to be working with me up here on stage. He's been a long time person that does demos and stuff here at the venue. He's a personal chef for a family out of New York. So great guy. He'll be cooking with me, but he'll also be doing some demos tomorrow. Matter of fact, he's actually cooking dinner for the participants tonight. So
we are at about 3 minutes and 30 seconds with Cal Bears and what they're trying to accomplish. Meanwhile, the judges are enjoying what Chef Michelle and sous chef Carlos put together. Mary and Ida getting things ready right here.
Yeah, I'm sure the Dukes is back sitting there pouring ice water over his head. How hot does he look? Or he's sitting in front of a fan or doing something because we don't see him on stage anymore right now. So
3 minutes, ladies and gentlemen.
So Duke's probably got the biggest block of ice resting on his head right now. So
that's going to get you ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, it's definitely got to get going because it does get warm up here, and especially as this day goes on, it does as much netting as what they try to do up here. It does the high noon heat does sort of start coming down on you. How far are we out now? What are we looking like time-wise?
A little less than 2, a little more than 2. 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 and a half. 2 and a half.
2.5 minutes.
That's an interesting garnish that they've got there on the.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Halibut.
Yeah, not sure what's that a Cornell of, Chef?
A toum, which is a Lebanese garlic aioli.
Lebanese garlic aioli.
And you just emulsify that by running it through the processor, nothing else?
Garlic, lemon, salt, and oil. Nothing else. Bouillabaisse, single varietal. Very interesting.
So we got so we got one dish left to plate up then, right?
Hey, folks, what do you think about the creativity of the chefs today?
2 minutes, 2 minutes. So,
fantastic.
Hey, Bears, let's hear it for your girls up here that represent you guys. Let's get some chairs going for them. They got 2 minutes to get this stuff going. So,
the band is almost on the field, Cal fans. Almost on the field.
hey, no matter how it all falls out, to all the schools, let's give all the schools a big hand for their hard
Yeah,
work,
you bet.
dedication. And I'll tell you what, it takes a lot for these guys to get their teams together, come out, represent their school. And no matter what, each one of the team gets a set of Calphalon cookware to take back to their kitchens with them. So
Terrific.
that's great for the folks from Calphalon to give that for them as well.
And, Jason, the winner will get a $5,000 scholarship donated to their fund, and the other two will get a $1,000 scholarship, so nobody goes home empty-handed.
No, not at all. So how are we doing on time now? 1 minute, girls. Chefs, we have 1 minute left to get your stuff over to the judges. 1 minute. You need to get it over there. Well, just get it plated so we can get it to the judges. We've got 1 minute to get it all plated. So
1 minute to plate it. Let's be specific.
okay, so fish ready. Okay, let them. We'll leave them set there for right now. They're just clearing the stuff. So as soon as they get that over there, we'll get their dishes over there. Go ahead and get them on the trays for.
Where are we at with time, Mike? 35 seconds. 35 seconds, and everything has to be finished. This is just an intense competition.
Yeah, you know, they brought it right down to the end, and that's what makes it exciting is, you know, you come right down to the end.
Check that out.
Yeah, she's using a pastry brush to put the marking on the plate. And, again, it's one of those unique ways to make a plate look attractive.
15 seconds,
15
though.
seconds,
It's getting
so we
close.
getting close on this last dish. I got 15,
10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and oh!
Well, we'll get the fish over there, get them judged on that. And still like to get them finished up so the judges can see the dish as well, though.
No doubt.
Okay, so thanks for your comments. Good stuff. So yeah, I know he's probably talking up a storm, right? So the last team came up and sort of doubled down on you. What did you think about that, having to taste 2 dishes at once?
Well, lobster filet mignon, not a bad thing to have to taste, but there were some errors in the preparation, but flavor and appearance were great.
I think the first impression was great, when especially the turf plate came down. It had all these colors and ingredients on it. I think they really did a great job on that. The lobster plate, kind of a lesser of an impression, so I think the turf plate, as we call it, was certainly overpowering the rest of it. The same on the flavors. I think a little bit salt would have helped and gone a long way on the flavors, especially on the meat part. But overall, I thought the challenge of putting out 2 plates with so many ingredients and components on it is really gives them some extra credit.
Chef Danae, what did you think?
I tend to think that simpler is better. I think that it was over-ambitious for the time that they had. It was impressive to look at and it was impressive to see, but you open yourself to flaws. So.
And now let's look at impressions. What's your impression of what's in front of you?
It looks beautiful. I like the color on the fish. It looks like it's been seared properly. Just the right amount of broth. I'm really anxious to taste this hash.
Well, we'll let you do it. I'm going to get out
Yeah,
of
go
the
ahead.
way
And I'm interested the garlic mousse. I haven't really seen maybe before, so it's interesting. It's just emulsified garlic, lemon, and
Sorry. Chef Ida is explaining to the judges that this is a play on bouillabaisse. She's saying, don't eat it in 1 spoonful, please. Little advice for the judges. Boy, I think everybody did just a tremendous job.
well, you know, there's a silence in the air now because now everybody's wondering what's going to happen, what
Right.
school is going to get that. So, hey, chefs.
By the way, they do have the second course all
did you
plated.
Did you get the second one plated?
Yeah, it's all plated. Looks like.
Okay.
And as you can see, just a really attractive dish here.
Yeah, you can see that when we're talking how nice that fish is cooked. See how it's just really pearly white and flakes apart. She did an amazing job cooking that. That fish. It looks really good from where I'm standing, and
Also, the bread looks like it's crunching the right way.
Yeah, and that was, she was meticulously working in that sill pad over there, getting that bread prepped and stuff. So.
Yeah, it looks like some people want more. That's a good sign.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she had said it was like a bouillabaisse that they wanted to mix in the bread to go with it and stuff, and. Out of, here in San Francisco, they have a dish called the cioppino. Do you know the history behind the cioppino?
Please fill us in.
Well, the cioppino was started by immigrant Italian fishermen. At the end of the day, after they'd sell all their fish, they'd come back to the dock and they would have a big pot going. And the term was, what can you chip in to make dinner? So the term turned into cioppino. And so that's where this San Francisco Italian stew started from, was cioppino, which is to chip something in.
Very similarly, the hamburger was invented in New Haven, Connecticut by a guy named Louis Lassen. And it happened because somebody was in a hurry. And he came into the restaurant, ate a luncheonette, and he said, I need something. I need to take it with me. I'm in a real hurry. It was around 1900. Mr. Lassen thought about it. He had some ground beef. He had a little onion. He kind of put it together, threw it on a piece of toast, and gave it to the guy. And the guy loved it so much they started serving it. That's where the hamburger
Isn't that a
started.
place it's like a little bar, like right downtown? It's tiny.
Best.
It's like a hole in the wall, isn't
Downtown New Haven, Connecticut.
Yeah, I've been by there. So
Well, next time you go by there, stop
stop
and
in there.
eat.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was driving through quickly. So
Oh, well, make time next time.
yeah, I definitely will.
Still there after all of these years. Meanwhile, here at the Gilroy Garlic Festival, once again, this is the 35th annual, but the very first Garlic Bowl. And I'm really, really proud to be part of this on behalf of the San Jose Sharks. And it's great to be with you too, Jason, an Iron Chef winner last year. I've learned a lot from you today, and also about the way that these competitions work from a bird's eye or actually a ringside seat.
Yeah, it is amazing, and there again always different levels of competition. Here able to know what going into it. So the one thing that the chef and the dog said is practice. Getting together, practice. The Spartans getting together and practice, and even though practice, things happen. Times and delays, and when you get in, watching the time. So the things are the industry working is a very fluid industry. You always have to be ready for change, and especially in any of these one of these chefs will tell you plan for a dinner, all of a sudden. The people sit at a different time and move tables, and that's not what I ordered, and all kinds of things can change at a moment's notice.
By the way, I would like to throw out a compliment, too, to the providers of all of the food. Everything just looks absolutely spectacular. And also, the way that the kitchen has been organized to make this competition work seems to be very efficient. What do you think?
Well, these are all volunteers. So everybody, again, let's give it up for the volunteers here on stage that are not only making sure that everything's brought up, but the kitchens are cleaned, and everybody that works here at the Garlic Festival is a volunteer too. So again, day in, day out, year in, year out, there's a team of people that a week after this is over, they start planning next year. So it's really amazing. And if everybody's going to get by Gourmet Alley, if you get a chance to sort of look down the alley from the bird's eye tent view, it's just amazing to watch the amount of symmetry of movement back there, the food being prepared to get it out to all the folks here in a timely manner that it's nice and fresh. So again, if it wasn't for the volunteers here and the folks that do this, it just wouldn't happen. So.
Well, we're getting closer to the official end time of all of this, and everybody got all of their dishes in, so we're not going to have a problem with that. But soon we'll have some information, won't we?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and also to get the final comments from the judges on the overall competition and what they thought of it, and because too is, I don't know if they're really talking too much about the points and stuff, but I'm sure nobody's sitting there and adding them quickly in their heads. So I'm sure even though they're sitting there talking, they may think who the clear winner is, but once the cards at the table and they're tallied over there, we'll truly find out who that is. So.
Well, all the judges intensely involved in conversation right now, and obviously we're just a few minutes away from getting everything done. What just a gorgeous presentation today, and you can see Christopher Ranch, of course, a big part of this Garlic Festival because they were one of the founders of this entire organization. You go back 35 years ago, Don Christopher, along with Val Felice and Rudy Malone, were here and trying to figure out what to do to promote Gilroy and what to promote the products of Gilroy. And, of course, garlic is the primary product, the capital of the world for that. And so the Garlic Festival came up, and they thought that they'd get a little bit of interest the first year, and everybody was so excited and it was so packed. They actually had to move here to this location.
Well, you know, it's funny. The first time I came here to this event, it was a lot smaller. It was back in 1983. How many veterans we got out here in the audience? It's here for
All
our
right.
veterans. I was in the Army, and I was stationed in Barstow, California. And the gentleman I was stationed with, his family was here from Morgan Hill. So we would drive from Barstow up to here to take some leave, and we came up here one time during the Garlic Festival. So I was like, here I am, a young cook in the Army back in the early 80s, like, Garlic Festival, what's that about? And so it was interesting to come back these years later to not only to see it, but be involved with it and stuff. It's amazing how much it's grown and what it's given back to this community.
By the way, military cooking, that's got to be an interesting experience, isn't it?
Well, I think military and cooking is probably sort of an oxymoron to some degree. Actually, though, really, when I was it's the quartermaster in the Army that runs all the food service programs. And the culinary today in the military is, just so changed from what it was when I was in. I mean, we were stuff, but I mean, like in the field, I was out in the Mojave Desert in Barstow, and the stoves that we cooked on were literally heated with unleaded gasoline with an air bicycle pump. And if you don't watch it, they blow up. So it's, not to say some of that field equipment hasn't changed, because you have to be utilitarian when you're out in the field. You can't be saying, well, I can only use propane. You have to use what's there, whether it's diesel, whether it's gas. But, the food and the quality of food that our military gets today is far surpassed when I was in what it takes to be a cook and a quartermaster.
So not as many SOS menus these days.
No. Well, sometimes, it may be just because of where you're at, but they make up for it when they get out of the field. So,
a veteran of our armed services, Jason Gronlett, also the 2012 Iron Chef here at the Gilroy Garlic Festival.
Yeah, so don't forget to come out over Sunday and watch the event. It's going to be great. It's a lot of fun. It's really a lot of action, too, because we don't know what we're going to get to cook until about 10 minutes before, and then about 30 seconds before. We all get the same ingredient, and we're all on the same time as far as 60 minutes, so it's not staggered. So it's a very unique and it's a very fluid thing, because you plan in your head certain things, and the next thing you know, you got to change, and changes. The time changes. Last year, I can remember clearly in my head, I heard 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, only 20 minutes are past, and I realized I only had 20 minutes left. So all of a sudden now, everything you had in your mind, you had to start switching it and keep turning it. So again, if you go to YouTube and put in Chef Jason CMAP, which are the folks here you see on the stage, you can see some of our stuff from our Iron Chef last year. They got some really great footage. The stuff we prepared last year and the competition here.
What's that site again?
It's CMAP, the folks you see right here. So it's on YouTube. But again, if you just put in Chef Jason and CMAP, you'll see the video from the Iron Chef here last year. And again, they'll actually, if you go to YouTube, put in CMAP TV, you'll get a lot of the stuff that they do as well. And you'll see this year's footage as well when they're done and get it up and posted. So.
Just a terrific afternoon overall. We're only a couple of minutes away from the competition ending and from a winner being determined. So we are really excited right now. Will it be Fresno State? Will it be Cal Berkeley? Will it be San Jose State? Well, we'll find out in a couple of minutes, and we know what Crazy George thinks. By the way, how about a big hand for Crazy George?
Now we do, judges, we are, even though it fell out of the time range, we do want you to taste our other dish as well. So if you want to bring over the Golden Bear's other dish, so I'd like for you guys just to taste as well, just to take a look at it. No, you can taste it. Just it won't be in judging. They ran out of time on it, but I just want you guys to taste it though.
Time issue, but you still need to taste what it's all about. I know that it looks like the
Chef,
judges are eager for that.
So they can taste that. Did you still have something you need to do to it, or?
They're done and they're ready. They will bring it to them.
Yeah, I still want to taste it.
Want to make sure that they can taste the food?
Yeah, I just wanted to taste it. Unfortunately, it can't be scored in because they ran out of time. We ran out of plating time, so they needed about another 2 minutes to finish. But the chefs went to all this hard work. You guys are sitting here. We don't want it to go to waste, so we definitely want you to.
This looks fantastic.
I'll tell you what. You've got an hour competition, chefs, and hey, chefs, you guys have to agree to sit and make a brittle and a pâte à choux for an hour competition. I think is really brittle and pâte à choux they did here. So yeah.
Wow, look at the reaction from Chef Dene.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, but in a radiant oven, not even a convection oven. So yeah. So that's a lot of work. So Let's give it up for the chefs of Golden Bear. They just put their heart and soul into everything they
Fantastic.
did here today. So.
Now this is the final portion. They have to make sure they taste. They will not score this one because of time constraints, but we will get comments on it.
Yeah, definitely. I love when you put the chocolate on the plate with a brush. It's just such a great visual appearance.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think today? Have you learned anything? I'll tell you what, being here very close to the action has made me so impressed with all three representatives of all three universities. Just an outstanding day. Crazy George over there signing autographs. Nice work. And I'll tell you what, it's a real challenge to just even think about coming to a competition like this. This is obviously a group of people you could call the best at what they do. And we're very, very happy about that. Reactions from the judges certainly indicating that right now. But all day. Just a few minutes away here, folks. We're really happy you could be here today. Once again, our thanks to Chef Eric DeBaud and Brian Kramer from the Bulldogs of Fresno State, and from Michelle and Carlos, Michelle Rogers and Carlos El Duque from the Spartans. And Mary Ferrer, the executive chef, Ida Shen, associate director, culinary and sous chef today from University of California, Berkeley. I think I'm going to come over here and have a little chat with some of the judges. Now, this is an interesting challenge. We'll talk to Jay Marshall. What did you think of what the Cal chefs tried to do here?
That was too bad they didn't get it out in time, because that was the most ambitious thing I've seen, making pâte choux and brittle. It's just too bad it was a couple minutes late, because it was a pretty amazing dish.
That's a great note. Tucker, what were your thoughts on this?
Ambitious is the right term. I'd actually classify the last two dishes as real restaurant quality. I thought that those were smart, and she'd have run away. She'd have run away with it, I think.
Wonderful, Tucker. Chef Dene, I noticed your reaction when you heard what they were making here in the final dish. Now what about the execution as you get it?
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, even the piping, being nervous and running down the line and piping that so beautifully, it was amazing. And the last dish, I wanted to finish it all. I couldn't get enough.
Love that. And Chef Biot, what did you think of this?
Well, I want to refer back first to the last dish, the halibut dish. I thought that was just really outstanding. What a great combination. What a great take on the traditional bouillabaisse. I think that was definitely number 10, or a 10 out of 10. And the ambition about this dish, I can say, I would have not tempted doing that here in public, and in gas stoves. We have no clue how they would react for us. So my head's up to you.
Well, especially in pastry, because of humidity and gas and stuff like that. And out here, and we were just showing earlier, I don't know if you guys saw, the flame was rolling vertically on the dogs team when they had a pan on there. So trying to control heat out here is really hard.
Yeah. And that's why, in general, when you go to a competition, you kind of know you're going to have those challenges in front of you. So you watch your dishes and make them somewhat safe to be able to serve and to pull off. But as I said, my hat's off to them.
Well, we've talked to the professionals. Now let's talk to the man who's the editor of the San Francisco Chronicle, Ward Bashy. As a diner, tell us about your experiences with these last two dishes.
It's interesting to listen to what the pros say about it, because I thought there was such a clarity and genius to what was cooked in the first course there. And I just thought it was something, if I had gone to a restaurant and had that, I would have talked about it afterwards and told friends that this really was a great place to come because we had just an incredible main course. So too bad they didn't make it at the end by those 2 minutes because I think they would have been really a strong competitor.
But still, you have to really give them a lot of credit for the quality of what they made, even though they didn't quite plate it in time. By the way,
you're saying you would have tweeted your friends after you left and told them all about this?
I would have tweeted.
So make sure everybody goes to the Gilroy Garlic Festival on Facebook and make sure you like us. So they keep it going on Facebook for the folks here at the Garlic Festival as well.
Jason, what's the procedure now? Looks like we're just about done. We got maybe a couple of moments. We've gotten to the time where we're about to announce the winner.
Yeah, it's now we've got some sweaty palms in the back. We've got the ladies of the court of the Garlic Festival in the back ready to present to the winners here. And don't forget this again. It's a 12-month trophy. It's a traveling trophy likened to the Stanley Cup.
Just like the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. So the team, we're gonna see somebody throwing up on their shoulders, running out of the cup, doing a couple whoop whoops.
Does each member of the team get a day with the cup, or maybe a week or two?
Yeah, I get. So would it be instead of romancing, still romancing the cup? I guess.
Sure.
Sure. I'm sure that they get to. I'm sure there's definitely some bragging rights to get back in the kitchen when they get back as well. And I'm sure being in the kitchen. I don't want to say it's like being in the military, but it's definitely it is a camaraderie because you're working with a lot of folks that you have to spend a lot of long, hot hours with. You have to get to know those people. So it is an interesting community in which to live. You got to think too. People who work in food service are working when everybody else is relaxing. So it's definitely a community unto itself.
Little wave for the judges on camera that everybody just saw.
Yeah. So dear judges, you guys want to wave up here to the TV and say. Except for you, Tucker. You just stay right there, buddy.
By the way, I wanted to ask Chef Dene one other thing about the wine and the way it worked with all the dishes today, and about the fact that later on it had been sitting out for a little while. Did the quality of that change with the way that the presentations occurred?
No, not really. I mean, it did get a little bit warm, but it opened up a little bit more, and it actually made it through all of my courses.
Have you ever had Sarah's Vineyard Chardonnay before?
I have not, but I love Chardonnay.
Well, you've come to a really good place. It's right up the street on the Hecker Pass Road, so very, very close by. They stayed very, very local. Once again, we want to thank everybody for being here today, and Jason, I guess we have to just wait for the final notes,
yeah,
right?
So let's, does anybody have any cooking questions or any questions that popped in their head when they were watching this today that they would like to ask either myself, Dan, one of the judges? Come on up here. Just say your name, where you're from, and what your question is.
Brian Tong from Palm Springs, California. I was looking at the, I believe, the halibut dish. Right. What was that formed? That was a mousse, right?
It was a Cornell, and actually, I hadn't made that before. It was actually an emulsification of olive oil, garlic, and lemon juice. And what I would have to assume is as the acid from the lemon juice with the centrifugal force of the food processor whipped it to like a mousse consistency. And so that's what she put into the dish. And then the judges were instructed to mix that with a hash, and so it became a flavor component. It was a visual component when the dish went down, but it had to be mixed in. So let's ask about the garlic for the bouillabaisse. Have you ever prepared garlic like that, first off? That was very interesting. So it was a really base emulsification that she did, and it came out beautiful. I think that. So let me ask you guys a question. And I heard her say it very clearly. It was to take that and mix it into the bouillabaisse. Was it a strong flavor by itself? When then you mix it into that summer hash, how did it blend in?
Well, in the beginning, I tried the summer hash without it, and then after the comments from her, I blended it in. And the garlic actually came out very strong and almost a little hot, but it mellowed out very quickly, so you get the flavors of the rest of the hash really well on your palate. So, but it had a nice little punch there right in the beginning.
Yeah, it almost looked like when it melted in, it was almost buttery in consistency. Did it add that richness to it?
Absolutely, yeah. It was a beautiful, smart American play on a classic French dish.
Yeah, that was great, and I to be honest with you, I'm going to have to try that emulsification myself. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I described it to them as being like wasabi. Yeah. So when you first put it in your mouth, it kind of cleanses you, and then it just dissipates.
So there was, I'm going to, as I'm going to have you answer, I'm going to think of what this is. So go ahead, tell me your thoughts on that dish.
Well, again, I just thought the clarity of it was really professional, and it was like a restaurant, something you would find as a great surprise in a restaurant. And the way the presentation of it with the rula-based stuff was was fantastic, and it mixed in very well, and it just created a whole new taste. It was great.
That's great. Yeah, it was definitely a beautiful presentation. Any other great question on your part? So, any other questions here? By raise a hand. Somebody come up. Anybody questions for the judges? Questions about the food? Oh,
I want to add to the dish because we were talking about texture, and in the beginning it didn't have the crunch or something we looked for, and actually we kind of go like, oh, that is the croutons. So we found the croutons and mixed that with it, and it worked very well.
Yeah, that was what came out on the side, correct? Yeah. So, any other questions anybody have? Raise their hands for the judges about the food. Anything? Don't be bashful. Come on, somebody can ask a question.
Right over here, right over up there.
Remember, there's an old Asian proverb that said, he who asks a stupid question is stupid for a moment. He who doesn't ask a question is stupid for a lifetime. So,
yeah, we have a phrase in hockey. There's no stupid questions, just dumb people asking them.
That's
right?
it.
But not this person. This person's very. Do you have a question, miss?
I have only one question.
What's your name?
Eileen.
What do you do for a living?
I'm retired.
Thank God.
Yes, thank goodness. It would have really been nice if you had the menu up on the screen with the ingredients that were used, because it was very hard for us to know. Everything was so hectic up on the stage. If we had an ability to know what was actually in the food, I would have liked that. That's why.
That's
I
good.
think.
That's a good.
Very good
for next year.
criticism. Excellent.
So post planning 2014. Let's put that on the books to have the menu up on the screens. Or actually, we could, since we had it we could have put it on the handout as well. That folks
Exactly.
got, so.
Any more questions out
That's
here?
what I was trying to think of. So, Chef, what you were talking about, you were talking about the heat and the garlic. The heat. It's called an isothiolate. I was trying to remember what it is. I'm trying to have my food science. So, isothiolate is actually. So when everybody eats horseradish, gets what they feel like a burn in their nose. That's from the isothiolate that's in there, and wasabi goes up through your nose. It's different from capsicum, which is in a hot pepper that actually burns your tongue. It's a different reaction. So that's what I was trying to think of the science there. So thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've just been informed that they are finishing up totaling the points, and we are minutes away, even maybe moments away, from getting the announcement of the winner of the very first Garlic Bowl for 2013. Has everybody had a lot of fun today so far?
And I do have to, hey, on a side note, not to take preference in any team, the Spartan mascot over there, that's like a 90-pound little girl inside that outfit, sweating to death in there. So they say she has ice packs, but God bless her. She's been in that thing for well over an hour now. So I know those ice packs aren't working anymore. So good job for you and representing Spartan. So
Hey, Jason, one thing that's also important to note, all of the chefs that have come here today have family and friends in the audience. I just met Chef Ida's niece here that's right here in the front with a friend of the family. So that's really, really nice to note that there are friends and family of the chefs watching them compete. Let's have a hand for all of those family members that came down to support their people.
And friends, I'll tell you, just for the first year of doing this, the amount of folks that came down.
I think it's great.
To fill this arena like this, they had the support. And, I have to really give you a lot. Dan and I have been sitting here running our cake holes for a while trying to fill time. But you guys are hanging in there to see. You're not emptying the stadium. So thank you for really staying here and supporting your team and supporting this event. It really shows your fortitude and stuff for supporting your team. So great job for you all staying around and listening to us fill time. So.
Oh, yeah. Now just a few minutes away from getting that going, and I don't know where the judges are, but Mike is taking care of that for us. They're back there adding, subtracting, counting the votes.
Here's a little cold water. I'll sit and run my mouth for a little while. Now, don't know much about hockey, so I can't really talk about that. But, and again, any
Big
questions?
season coming up, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This San Jose Sharks were one of 5 teams left in the Stanley Cup playoffs the day that their season ended. And the other teams were the 4 previous Stanley Cup champions, and the Sharks, they're right there with the best teams in the league.
Well, Florida, we have a fish too. We have we have the Rays, or who is it we have?
You have the Tampa Bay Lightning.
The Tampa Bay Lightning.
And you also have the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, that's it. So my first time actually the Lightning ever won, I think. I mean, they had played for 6 or 7 seasons and never won anything.
Right.
I was there when they won their first game. and I was actually leaving the parking garage and grabbed a parking cone and was using it as a loud horn to give my due justice to the team that won, and then I got an $80 ticket for interfering with a traffic control device.
Oh, gosh. Now, that is a traffic story I have never heard before.
You pick up an orange cone, it's interfering with a traffic control device.
I don't get that one.
And I did for $80.
Yeah, well.
I didn't even get to keep the cone.
I can't top that, Jason. I
No,
can't.
This one, you don't want to try and top it, that's for sure.
You guys want to be here tomorrow for Jason's defense of his 2012
Sunday.
Iron Chef. Oh, Sunday, sorry.
Sunday, yeah.
2012 Iron Chef title. That'll be Sunday. And coming up right after we make the presentation here, there will be a barbecue contest going
Right,
on
we have
just off to the right or behind where the CMAP TV area is there. My friend Miles McEntee of High Five Catering is the one that I'm biased for in the barbecue competition. He is, in my mind, the best in the business, but I'm sure there are a couple of other competitors that want to be the best too, so they're going to be competing today in that barbecue contest.
I went over there, and I have no skin in the game for any of them, and I'll tell you what, they all had some great tri-tips. So if all their ribs are as good as their tri-tip was, it's definitely going to be a throwdown here at the stadium to see who makes the best rib, because they all had just a great tri-tip over there. So,
well, it is the moment, the calm before the storm here. We are still awaiting the calculations. Not exactly sure why it's taking this much time,
yeah,
but
and actually,
sometimes it does.
if we can get all the teams and the court
Let's get
up
them
here
all
to
up
the
here.
center of the stage up here, if we can get all the chefs, sous chefs, and the girls from the court up here into the center of the stage for when they get ready to make the presentation.
I know we have some photographers. We could do some general photographs just before, so why don't we get everybody up here?
Yeah, Dan, I'm sure they want a photographer for us, not the girls, right?
Yeah, right. Come on up.
Come on up, chefs. So, Duke, did you go back and find a fan? You look awful cool now for a guy that was
He's
over here
looking
sweating
good.
earlier.
Yeah, I did.
By the way, how about Chef Michelle? How was the competition? What did you think of it?
I think it's a great. Anytime you do a competition, I think it's great. It tests your skills, it tests your ability, it tests your timeliness, your organization. The only thing is the ovens are different, and that's where you're like, oof, you don't really always plan out everything. So, unfortunately, it is what it is.
But that's part of the beauty of the competition. And, of course, very interesting to hear the judges' comments even before the decisions and the scores are in. That's got to be a learning experience for you as well.
Oh, every time you get on the kitchen, you learn something new. You know, you never stop learning.
Let's hear it for the two chefs from San Jose State.
So, you got Fresno State here. So, Chef, you're the only one actually on the stage that wore a toque, so that was first kudos to you, because that's a straight funnel of heat down to the top of your head. So, what did you think about the competition? You guys just sort of breezed through it like, oh, a day in the park maybe, I don't know.
Well, we wanted to go first anyway, because we figure if we go first, the judges can eat our two dishes first in a row, where if you go later, it could be a possibility that your dish get mixed up. So we're actually excited to go first, and we tried to keep it as organized as we could and got it done pretty much on time.
Thank you. Chef, what did you think? Is this your first time competing at this
Yeah, this is the first time I've done that, and I actually want to thank Chef for a lot of his guidance and his wisdom on kind of coaching me through the first one, because we both worked really hard and in between our regular jobs and practicing, and he helped me a lot.
So how many times did you guys actually practice the dishes before getting up on stage today?
Yeah, we did like 3 all the way through runs.
So you did full-timed runs where somebody was on the clock. Were they timing you and calling out the time and stuff, so you guys sort of knew where you were at each point?
Yeah, because Chef actually set a timer, and we had a little digital timer, and we went.
Great job today. It was really good. So I think we're down to
the Cal group.
Let me get the chefs from the Golden Bears. So come on up. I know you want to. I kept irritating you, but you took on some really intense culinary things. I don't think some people don't even, as a chef, for you to make a pat of choux and to make brittle in the unknown up here. Even the chef was saying you don't know the humidity of the oven, the humidity up here, the heat. And that's why we were talking earlier for you to say. So kudos, even though you didn't get up, just awe-inspiring that you'd even take that on. So as a chef, I'm very impressed with the chutzpah to take that on, and the flavors that I'm actually going to try the thing with the garlic because I've never seen that before, and your technical execution on something like that I haven't seen was fantastic. So what did you think about this, and how many times did you guys practice this and all this stuff prior to coming here?
Well, thank you. And it's either chutzpah or stupidity. I don't know which one it was.
There's that fine line.
Yeah, there's that fine line. So it was either the judges would have liked it or not. We practiced more than a few times, but we have a full-time job. So it was a lot of practicing on our families. And in terms of the pastry, it was, I think that kind of threw us in terms of the timing. So.
Well, that's it. We talk about you don't know the ovens, and even the air coming through the back of these ovens can change it, the humidity, and because they plumb the gas, they don't have time to set the regulators and calories, so you don't know how much moisture is coming through with the gas. And so something like pat a shoe, where you've got to just dry it out just perfectly to get it to raise and set. It's just, again, congratulations, a great job on you all. Seeing your presentation, your working skills are spot on. Chef, get a couple words, and what did you think about this whole thing?
I'm relieved. Yeah, yes.
Well, great job, and your knife skills are commendable there. You had a beautiful julienne there, so great job, and nice and squared up. So
Let's line everybody up, Jason, all of the chefs together. And by the way, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the Miss Gilroy Garlic Festival contestants, including the Queen, the first, second runner-ups, and some princesses. Let's hear it for them here as they come to present. Congratulations. The Queen is Olivia Echeverria. What's your hometown?
Gilroy.
Right on, a hometown girl competing in the competition. What did you think of the competition today?
I think it is going to be very tough and very close, but it looks like everybody's worked extremely hard, and as long as everyone's learned, then we won something.
I think that is the best way to look at it. I have the results right here, Jason, and we have the trophy ready as well. We're going to talk about a couple of things. Number one, we all know that the team from University of California, Berkeley did not get scored with their second dish, so obviously they are not going to be in the running for the championship. But I would like to point out that their first dish, which was graded, was the highest individually graded dish in the competition. So I think that's something that really deserves a lot. And in your dish that wasn't graded, it was very, very well received by all of the judges today. So I need to say that. Let's hear it for Cal. Only one way to do this, I guess. We have a first runner-up, as it were, or a silver medalist and a gold medalist. I think what I'm going to do is do this as quickly as possible. The scores were very close. The second-place team finished with 341 points, and the first-place team finished with 367.5 points, so very, very close. The difference between the first dish was only 4 points, and the difference appears to be in the second dish that was presented. So that's a little bit of statistical information for the final. I will do this very quickly because when you know one, you'll know the other. Second place today, the San Jose State Spartans. The winner is Fresno State Bulldogs with 367.5. And now it's time to present Chef Eric DeBod with the Garlic Bowl Championship Trophy. Obviously, it's time for a photo op now. Go ahead, Olivia. Let's hear it for the championship team. Let's also hear it for the second place team, San Jose State. Only a 4-point difference between the first course of San Jose State and Fresno State. Very, very, very close in the end. We also have a $5,000 scholarship that is going to go to Fresno State and a $1,000 scholarship to go to both Cal Berkeley and San Jose State. Each team will receive a Calphalon package, and that really is a terrific donation by that company, so let's hear it for them. And, of course, the trophy gets to stay at Fresno State for 1 full year. That garlic trophy is awfully handsome, and I think that everybody who participated today deserves a big hand as we close out. Let's hear it. And so Chef Eric DeBaud and Brian Kramer, the sous chef, are the very first winners of the Garlic Bowl for Fresno State. More celebrations all the way around. Congratulations to Cal Berkeley and to San Jose State for terrific dishes today. And Jason, it's been a real pleasure working with you today.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Well.
If I come see you, I'll come see you on the ice. You come see you in the restaurant. So
I'd love to do that.
Yeah, if you're in Orlando, I'd definitely make sure. And I think a big thanks to our audience too, as well, for coming and supporting your teams. So everybody, great job, and thanks for coming down and supporting the first Garlic Bowl here at the Gilroy Garlic Festival.
Thank you very much for your support. Remember to go to the Barbecue Festival contest, and of course on Sunday when Jason defends his title in the Iron Chef competition. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you very much.
Have a great time. Go Sharks.